Blanchard is back. The rumors are true.
Green with a slap to Meechin. Chelsea now. Oh my goodness! What a move into the Prettier! What a counter by Green! Green with the title!
Here's your winner and the inaugural Women's United States Champion, Chelsea Green!
History made tonight!
I say we leave the tribes on the side and let them spectate. Tribal chief versus tribal chief. On January 6th, on Netflix. Take back my bloodline. On January 6th, I take back Maula Fala. On January 6th, take back my respect. And once I had that respect, the whole world will have no choice but to acknowledge me.
While I'm overjoyed you didn't come out here with that stupid song of yours, for first time in your life, you're actually coming from the right spot because you belong in the audience with the rest of the CM Punk fans. Oh, you think that embarrasses me? It doesn't embarrass me to be out here with these people. I'm a fan, I always will be. I love this place. When you abandoned this place and you hoped that it would die without you, I put it on my back. I made it stronger than it's ever been. If anyone should be embarrassed, it's you. Because this fan, he's got more WrestleMania main events than you ever will.
Oh, he said it was only a matter of time before they lock up in the ring, Wade. They may just brawl outside of it.
Oh,
here they go! CM Punk, Seth freaking Rollins, right to the barrel.
In 3, 2, 1, clap.
Huh?
Benoit balls.
I still think Kevin Sullivan did it.
I'm Aubrey Edwards. I'm not a wrestler.
Tony's quick sniffs of the week.
No, just my dickhead friends causing concussions and shit. All right, never mind.
There's barbecue sauce. So good, half the face don't work.
With Hogan that close up on the fucking camera reminds me of my racist uncle. I know you ain't listening, but you know who you are, you fucking racist.
Uncle. Oh my God, for real, don't tell me that's his name. No way. I was kidding. I swear to God. It was just the first thing that came to my head. It was the first thing.
Welcome to the Top of Wrestling with your hosts ODM and the Professor.
Good wrestling day, but go Bills, hit the music!
The Bills make me wanna shout. Kick your heels up and shout. Throw your hands up and shout. Throw your head back and shout. Come on now, the Bills are making it happen now. Stand up now, come on and shout. Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey, hey, hey. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. Let's go, Buffalo. The Bills make me wanna shout.
You cocksucker.
Only because I had a feeling you were going to do it right away, to be honest with you. I was like, I'm going to take one. Just one. I'll tell you what. rest of the season's yours.
All right.
Because I'm pretty sure we got the next 3 games locked.
Yeah, we should.
Well, Patriots, Jets, Patriots. My only thing is hopefully they're going to sit Allen for the last game.
I would think so.
If we lock up, well, depending on when Mahomes is going to return, we may lock things up. We may not. Who knows?
Yeah, it's going to be an
take away that bye.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting end of the season at this point. I'll take the 2 seed.
I was messaging with Lil John. I go, it'd be really nice if you guys could take out the Steelers for us today.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, I was kind of thinking the same thing for you and the Lions. And I said, all right, deal. And then when their game ended, he hit me up and he goes, we held up our end. I'm like, we're getting there. Hang on.
What a fucking game. Jesus.
Yeah. Gaff. All right, man. Well, it is a wrestling podcast. We'll talk a little bit of wrestling and got a little old school the night before that Bills game. It was Saturday night's main event. We'll be talking about that. We got Bring It to the Table. We got news. Just a couple quick pay-per-view results, something from TNA. Our wars. We got Starrcade 99. The kick that still haunts Bret Hart due to Bill Goldberg.
Did you have you seen the AI pictures that have been coming out? One is Russo and Cornette with their arms around each other smiling, and then one's Bret Hart and Bill Goldberg, but even in one of them,
Hugging?
Bret Hart still looks pissed off.
That, and have you seen the other ones where people are doing if these people were alive today, what they would look like?
Yes.
And it's like what Eddie Guerrero would be like and Chris Benoit. I was like, it's just weird. And the one of them was what Andre would look like. I'm like, Andre would not look that way. I'm like, Andre would just be dead. Okay, let's
He'd
just
still
call
be
it.
dead.
Also in the wars, you got Santa in a boiler room brawl match.
Santa's.
It's gonna be a fun one, and it's a dual top topic. One's gonna take like 4 minutes, but it's, speaking of the 4, we're bringing it down to the final 4 from the Elite 8 in that tournament that we've been working on, and this is the finals actually, because then these are the 4 that Weezy is going to watch and give us his take on what he would rank as his favorite, or just his take anyway. It's not like we're gonna keep him to a high standard on him. Fucking all right.
Or us.
Well, why I say that? Oh yeah, we're also doing non-wrestling 7. Gets fun, but I text you, hey man, been without power since 6:30 this morning. It was fucking cold. There was a bad storm that came through. I'm like, I was kind of looking forward to being able to watch Saturday night's main event live, and I couldn't. Power was out for nearly 13 hours.
Bam.
And you texted me, don't tell me, tell Weezy. And I go, oh, that's a good call. Because, motherfucker. And I say to him, hey, blah, 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 don't spoil anything. I plan to watch it at some point. And about maybe what was 20 minutes in, so it's 5:20 here, he said, show's been garbage. I wouldn't bother watching. And I wrote, and I didn't know if it was sarcasm or not, right? And I just wrote back, first, plenty of time left looking at the clock. B, even saying don't watch is a spoiler, you motherfucker.
Yeah, right?
You noob. I'm like, just leave me alone.
Yeah, I'm sure it was
said,
sarcasm, yeah.
No, it was. And then he goes, who do you got for the main event? And I go, your mom. So oh, God. Anyway, it was... I like Saturday night's main event. We'll get into that in just a couple minutes. But first, before that happened, the night before was TNA Final Resolution. All day Friday, I kept seeing these alerts that Tessa Blanchard may be going back to TNA. And I said, well, that's going to be tonight at this pay-per-view. I guarantee it. I was like, that's no doubt in my mind. Now, I'm happy about it. God, she looks fantastic. I've always liked Tessa. I think if she does okay here, she should just get right over into the WWE system somehow. But you have something here, and I really wasn't familiar with this, but apparently Jordan Grace is not interested in doing a program with her.
Yeah, I mean that's where that's what they set up at the pay-per-view, and it's the most logical sense. I mean, those are two of like their most athletic, like big, stars physically too. But yeah, I mean, apparently there's still some sour grapes, and a lot of people don't like Tessa. Yeah, because there's Grace and a lot of other people unhappy that she's back at all. So it'll be interesting. That's why I don't really see it happening with her going to WWE. It seems like those wounds are still fresh, founded, unfounded, whatever. Here, I'm not here to place guilt. I'm just saying the stink of it. I just don't see her going to WWE anytime soon.
I did see that the person that she had the beef with, or the person that, she said the racist remarks or slur to, they've made amends.
Okay.
That I've seen is that her and Tessa did. So I'm like, it's kind of like, I get what you might be saying, Jordan, but fuck you. It's not always about you. It's about the business. What's good for business.
Well, we know whose side you're taking in this.
Oh, 100%. Oh, my God. I love Tessa Blanchard. Oh, my God.
I can deal with the racism part.
I mean, you hang with your uncle all the time. So,
that's not all the time.
All the time, yeah. I thought that she was retired, Tessa, at all this time.
Yeah, because weren't they supposed to do some women's promotion that never panned out with like AJ Lee and forget who else?
I thought they were actually still doing stuff, but I don't even know if they did or not.
I don't think so. I think they held a press conference and that was it.
Did you see AEW's recent press conference for All In Texas?
No.
At best.
I did see the picture.
They did it outdoors, like they tried to do, like when they first did
the
buying
very first
AEW
one.
or AEW starting. Yeah. This had like 50 to 100 people at best.
Yep.
Some of them were probably crew.
Probably.
Now, speaking of who I thought was retired, being Tessa Blanchard, Logan Paul says he's retiring from wrestling, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all centered around the birth of his second son, I think. Who, whatever, I don't care. But yeah, so he put that out there, and obviously the marks are going to run with it. But the weird thing that I keep noticing is he's dead center on the graphic that they used on Raw, at least. They might have used it on Saturday night's main event as well. But it's like the one guy in the middle, then two on each side. And some of your biggest stars. I think Gunther was on there, Seth. But he's been dead center. So I'm wondering if it's a work. I wonder if he just shows up to the Netflix one as one last date just to kick it off. Because, dude, I don't know how long that show's going to be because they're jam-packing that fucker full of shit.
I know. It's got to be more than 2 hours, I imagine, because, yeah, we'll talk about that in a couple minutes as to what we're looking at so far. Did you just punch your microphone?
Yeah. Well, no, not yet. I probably will by the time we get to the wars. Quick piece of news that I didn't throw in here. So Becky Lynch has kind of been
teasing.
Quick
piece of nose. Easy, TK.
Well, I mean, it's Becky Lynch, so it fits, That fucking schnoz. Don't do heroin, kids. So she's going to be apparently on the first season of some new Star Trek spinoff. I forget the name of it. Who gives a shit? But apparently she's going to be doing some acting here. As long as it keeps her away from the ring, I'm all for it.
She looks like Spock. Just a little bit.
She looks a little Vulcanish. A little Klingonish, too.
You be a wrestler. I'm going to go be an actor.
I mean, not bad. I give it a 7.
Yeah. Better than a wrestling. Cool. But there's also a rumor with Logan Paul that Conor McGregor and him may be mixing it up in a boxing match. I have zero care to see that.
Yes.
But the best thing to come out of this is that when Logan Paul said that he was retiring, Hangnail decided to put out a tweet and said, hope the next guy they give my moveset to, or half my moveset to, is at least a cool guy. Or some shit like that.
I think you nailed it. I think that was almost it verbatim. Close.
And prior to the Saturday night main event show, I think it was like maybe on YouTube, whatever panel it was. I don't know who it was that was talking to Punk. It was a short announcer or commentator. I'm not sure who he is. And then also the chick was there too.
Mm-hmm.
I got to start remembering their names. And the guy said something about, is there anybody that has a moveset you're worried about or something? And he goes, don't use that word. He goes, it's a stupid word. And my favorite part was, if you're a wrestler and you're using that word, you don't know anything about this business or whatever it was, it's like, oh my, he just went hard right
Yeah.
at it.
It's true, though. Think about it. Think about it. Where is
I've never heard a wrestler say moveset.
Where is the...
Mine is maybe Bret Hart. Maybe.
Where is the only place you've ever seen that term used? There's only one place.
Well, AEW.
In a video game.
Oh.
That's it.
Oh, Jesus.
Right?
Oh, my God. I didn't even think of that.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, you're right. AEW.
Yeah. I see what you did.
Yeah, their video game was almost as good as their wrestling show.
No. Not even close. Worst wrestling game I've ever played.
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
I don't know. Simpsons wrestling was pretty bad. Might be one of the worst video games of all time. But
it's funny because I went to send you the Punk saying shit about that tweet, and I sent you something, and I sent Lil Jon something. I was like, these guys will dig this, and you wrote, "What the fuck does that have to do with Hangman or Hangnail?" And I go, "What Punk said in the tweet." You go, "Yeah, I saw that, but that was like, but I sent you like basketball."
No, a boxing match or something. But it was like a video, like with all the hype up beforehand, and it's like a whole vignette.
I sent something weird over to Lil Jon as well. He was like, "What the fuck was this?" I had to re-explain to two different people. I was like, "I'm done with the internet for the day. I quit."
Okay, boomer.
Well, at least I'm not storming off. Boom.
Yeah, there you
I'm
go.
really good at transitions.
Yeah, that one was okay.
Take over this part. I like this.
So there was the Busted Open holiday party. Busted Open is Bubba Ray's podcast, right? And it was basically like a panel, right? They're up on a stage and they got some people there. And Professor, I'm going to let you fill in the gap here as far as the details of what was being discussed. But basically it ended with Drew McIntyre saying, I spent all this time, earning your respect back. I've poured blood, sweat, and tears in. And now what? Now you're giving me shit. You don't appreciate what I'm bringing here. Well, you know what? You can all fuck off. And I think he said you can all fuck off. And he mic dropped and he just walked out of the studio. Bubba's selling of it was great.
Yeah, I know. He was like, what the hell just happened here?
Yeah.
Mark Henry was trying to chime in like as Drew was walking off.
Mm-hmm.
Extreme kayfabe. I loved it, man. I think it was, is there truth to some of the things he's saying?
Sure.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
But look at, in one of his most recent things I heard, he's like, no championships. I don't need it. He's like, I don't even care about my legacy now. I'm just taking people out. And it was Buster and I were messaging and we said, the title is not ever going to make a person. There's not one person that I see. I'm like, they have to have a championship. Maybe they do to seem somewhat relevant, but it's the character, man. Titles don't mean shit.
Mm-hmm.
Really.
Especially these days.
When you get the world title, it's nice. It's a cool nod. But at the same point, you could be the best wrestler and show stealer without ever having the world championship.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Look how much we give praise to Kurt Hennig,
mm-hmm.
Rick Rude,
Razor Ramon.
WWE. Exactly. So it's the same thing with Drew right here. I don't think he needs a championship anymore. I think just staying relevant and he's been badass on not only Twitter, but like his in-ring promo, all of his work. He turned into a killer, a psychopath, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
It's been perfect. I think he's been on a roll this year. Probably his best year since coming back to WWE. And he was a world champ during the fucking pandemic.
Yeah, the feud with Punk, solidified it because that feud was only half as good because of Drew. Right? Listen, Punk's great, and we know that usually everything he touches turns to gold, especially since he came back. But Drew, leaned into it, and he's keeping it going, and he doesn't need Punk anymore. He can keep doing this on his own. You mentioned the kayfabe. I love it because he's right up there with, Karrion Kross. His Twitter game is a little more subtle, a little more humorous, right? But Drew doing shit like this is fucking great. Now, if you're like us, where you're reading a lot of content, I think I saw a picture right after this was done when he was with somebody smiling like it was no big deal, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, that shit's gonna sneak through, but people, they're making sure that you see this shit, right? To see him just be like, fuck you. So we do have a little bit of a return to kayfabe. It's just kind of, adapted to modern times and technology. So, yeah, I love it. And only certain people, the people at the top are the ones that embrace it.
Yeah.
And the people at the bottom don't know how to do it.
Yeah, but well, and if they do, well, I still think, man, everybody should always look back at Matt Cardona, Zack Ryder. It's the first guy that got himself over just on the internet alone by doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Bucks tried to recreate it with being the elite. Yeah. And before we talk about that, TNA at their Final Resolution pay-per-view, not only did Tessa show up, but Joe Hendry won a fatal 4-way match that now makes him the number 1 contender again to the World Championship. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I know, right?
Still Nick Nemeth with the championship. But one of the biggest things that came out of this whole pay-per-view was Eddie Edwards was jawing with a fan at ringside and playing a heel. It's fine. Eddie didn't touch him. I don't think he touched his drink, anything. And in a playful way, I get it. I think the guy I don't know why he did. In a playful way, he tapped Eddie on the chin like a slap. It was the bitchiest of a slap I've ever seen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was like, he didn't expect that Eddie was going to go right back at him with another fucking palm right to his ear.
Then he doesn't know enough about Eddie Edwards.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, yo, I would have done it to Joe Hendry. If I felt like I was going to slap someone, I would slap Joe Hendry before I slap Eddie Edwards. You know what I mean? Like, Eddie is a collegiate athlete, and he's been a fucking fighter. It's just, the whole thing was hysterical to me. So, as JR would say, hands, leave the town alone, let them wrestle. I think that he says that. I don't know.
Maybe.
So there, with our recent injury news, if you've been wondering why you haven't been seeing the Guns as of recent, Austin and Colton, it's because Austin is injured with an he's out with an undisclosed injury. But they're not going to be able to do anything with Colton if he's not there, which says so much about AEW. I'm like, you could. I mean,
yeah, it's been known to happen.
Yeah, Jay White is there, and Juice was. I'm like, they're all still the gangbang club, so you could have did something, but nope. And 3 people are set to leave TNA. Speedball Mike Bailey, which we already talked about, that he is in line to go to AEW. 100% where I thought he would go. Trent Seven, which I wouldn't mind seeing him get back into WWE. Now that Triple H is fully in charge. He was tag team with Tyler Bate, remember Mustache Mountain?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And you put Pete Dunne in there too. That was a whole team as well. You know what I mean? Like, it was just saying, I'd like to see him back over there. He'd fill in where Ilya Dragunov is out right now because he's out injured.
Yeah, to do the Cassius Ohno role when he was in, something like that.
And Kushida, who's one half of one of the IWGP Junior Tag Team Champions, he's set to be leaving TNA as well. I guess he's been under contract there, but I think he's just probably going to be heading right back to Japan.
That would make sense.
And it's time for TK's Sniffs of the Week.
Well, I only see
first one that makes me...
Go ahead.
Well, we have 2.
Oh, okay. I missed that. I gotcha.
So, the one is, in like 2 weeks, Kenny Omega is returning for his first match since going down with diverticulitis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be against Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Dynasty. AEW hasn't said a fucking word about it on their television.
Why isn't his first match on Dynamite?
Well, we did that with everybody else. We let everybody's first match become on Dynamite instead of just a big show. I'd rather it be a big show.
Or an AEW pay-per-view.
See this match.
Not a New Japan pay-per-view.
I mean, it's a crossover. It's not just New Japan. It's the AEW New Japan CMLL crossover.
It makes no sense. I don't.
Believe me, neither is not hyping him.
Yeah.
This part, do you have the tweet?
I got it right here.
Yes.
It actually wasn't a tweet in itself. Excuse me, Rudy. It was a press release, a statement that was on their Twitter page. This is an official statement from AEW, specifically from Tony Khan. I do have it right here. I want to address the recent claims made by Rey Fenix regarding the medical care and treatment he has received in AEW. I want to sincerely apologize to Rey for any misunderstandings or issues he has faced. The reality is that Rey doesn't speak English fluently, which has made it very challenging for us to properly communicate and understand his needs at this time. I'm going to stop right there. No hablo is what basically he just said right there.
I don't speak no Spanish.
Yeah. What the fuck? For example, when Rey suffered an injury last year, I thought he was trying to tell me he was hungry. So I sent him to get something to eat at a nearby restaurant instead of getting him a meat.
This is a real tweet.
Bro, this is a statement from Tony Khan. Dude, unless this is a rib, I'm pretty sure. I mean, let's do our due diligence.
No, it's
here.
real.
Yeah.
No, it's real. He's like pointing to his stomach. I think I have diverticulitis. He's like, oh man, you gotta check this Chinese restaurant out around the corner.
He says, I feel terrible about that situation and I take full responsibility. Oh God!
I just thought he was hungry.
I must have skipped over that line or forgot about it. Holy shit! That whole second paragraph seems fake. It seems like a comedy bit, dude. I thought he was telling me he was hungry. This has got to be
ridiculous,
fake.
dude. I don't know, man. Because as much as that motherfucker tweets, I haven't. Well, let me ask you this question: if it's no longer Twitter and it's now X, how come you're not Xing people?
X. That probably sounds weird.
Yeah, well,
ask Elon what it's supposed to be.
He tweets so much. He would have come out and been like, "Just want everybody to know that wasn't me. That wasn't a real statement from me." So, which makes me think it was him.
Dude, it's fucking crazy. I'm scouring AEW's Twitter now. For all I know, they could have ended up taking that shit down because if that was real, it's fucking cringy as hell. Oh my God, that's fucking hilarious.
This part I didn't know if I wanted to put into the Dynamite or if I wanted to put it into Tony's quick sniffs. Tony Storm came back, which is it wasn't timeless Tony Storm. She's now back to the skater girl look with the one thing under her eye.
She's Tony Storm again. Yeah, she's regular Tony Storm. Yeah.
And her first match back was on Rampage, a tape show.
Mm-hmm. Yup.
Even better, while she was there, Thunder Rosa was out in the crowd with a sign that just says WTF with a question mark. I was like, is she just using signs now? And then all of a sudden I see that Thunder Rosa, after Tony Storm comes back and looks at Mariah May, your champion. That should be a big thing, right? It's how you closed out your Dynamite Winter is Coming episode. And nope, at World's End, it's going to be Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May for the championship.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And Tony, thanks for coming back. Go to Rampage.
Mm-hmm. Yep. You pretty much nailed it. And here's the thing. They're even playing it up like where she has amnesia. Like she forgot. She thinks she just got signed to AEW.
Oh, that's right. I saw that she's now all elite. And I was like, the fuck is this company doing?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense.
She put out the fake retirement like a week ago. You got to wait longer than that.
See, I told you that, and I told you Tony ruined it in that one interview. He's like, she just had a rough go of it, but we're hoping to see her back real soon. Well, she said she's retiring from wrestling. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I actually hope she does split personality. Where all of a sudden Timeless comes back. Hey, I'm just giving options here. Anyway, on the WWE side of things, you wanted Penta. You didn't get Penta. It was Braun Strowman was Carmelo's opponent. I was like, as soon as I saw it, I go, oh, fuck, come on, man. I'm like, this was like Jinder Mahal being the former world champion that showed up on day one last year.
Roar! I don't care about Braun anymore. I'm sorry.
I stopped giving a shit about Braun the moment that Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, and all these guys who were set to come back from injury right around WrestleMania didn't get to wrestle at WrestleMania. Instead, we got little Nicholas from the crowd to be his tag team partner. Fuck you. That was the last time I gave a shit about Braun Strowman.
Yeah, I
Still
feel
mad that Cesaro and Sheamus had the job to a kid.
Yeah, I feel so stupid that we even have to do this, but I'm glad we put it in there just because it was so goddamn funny. This is patently not true, this Tony Khan thing. It's a fucking rib. Which I don't care.
Going back to
it's still fucking hilarious. Yeah, I'm not going to let that go without clarifying that, no, we are not saying this is real. It was just funny as fuck.
I just thought he was hungry. Another great thing that Kevin Owens did on SmackDown was he said that, Cody, you were way more interesting when you were Stardust.
Mm-hmm. That's fucking
Kevin
hilarious.
knows how to really do a feud.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
the guy we were talking about, Lil Jon and myself, about doesn't need a title. And look what he's done. He main evented two WrestleManias back-to-back. 38 and 39. One with Austin, second one winning tag titles with his best friend. Then just did the first Saturday night's main event in a long time in a world championship match that people were actually going, maybe this happens. You never know. I mean, shit, they took the title off of Hogan on a main event against Andre.
Yeah.
With that weird thing.
Did you, what did you think about Ventura?
So we'll get to that in 1 second.
All right.
I did see this thing someone posed online. I'm like, with how everybody is so pissed off, wouldn't a great stable be Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Drew McIntyre? They're all pissed off at the same thing. Anybody who wants to be associated with Bloodline, or, just, I think it would be a great fucking, the way all three of them are anti-everybody. And get this, they're not the Shield, they're the Sword. Bam.
Hey, I was going to say the Shield 2.0, but the Sword, I think that'll work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little different.
Yeah, I like it.
So what did I think of Jesse the Body Ventura? Let's get into Saturday Night.
Let me tell you something. You don't know I was there.
That's as good as it's getting.
You fans were great. You guys are the reason that it's better than ever. My only issue is that they didn't do the opening.
Mm-hmm.
I saw it online on YouTube because that's all I could really watch at that time with the power being out. And they did like a 2-minute intro of everybody getting 15 seconds to say something, just like they used to open every Saturday night's main event. But it wasn't on the show. They opened the show with...
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Kind of almost went right into Drew and Sammy, which pissed me off, but I was like, I'll take what I could get out of it. They were probably crammed for time. You only got 2 hours. It's NBC. First, I got to say, I saw a bunch of people write, that was and Bully Ray defended it, but a lot of people saying this was just a glorified house show.
So?
I didn't see it that way.
Yeah, no.
I liked it.
Yeah, and you had your stars continuing storylines.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, the nostalgia was there. The vibe was there.
Mm-hmm.
I was into it. The entrance, just that right little small entrance with just the curve at where you got to walk over to the ring. I thought it was perfect. Red, white, and blue ropes. The refs back in the old,
that's awesome.
old gear.
Seeing the side by sides of Charles Robinson in '97 wearing that uniform and seeing it now.
The crowd was hot, man. I thought they were really into it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that it was a good show. Jesse only had to do commentary for one match.
Probably a good idea.
But I gotta be honest, back to Jesse the Body Ventura.
Oh, 100%.
When Cody cheated to win. He was like, you're saying that Kevin could have used it. And he goes, okay, Cody did. And he goes, he's the one who cheated. And I'm like, he used to call Hulk Hogan out on shit all the time. I'm like, oh, I missed him being on the fucking mic. That was good.
It was he didn't miss a beat. He talked when he needed to, so he didn't get exposed for being old or whatever, but he wasn't like rambling or anything. He did the heel shit where he was calling out the faces. It was fucking great, I thought.
But it did get weird when he first came out for that main event, and he was talking with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole. It was like a weird exchange, and then he spent a good minute saying twice this was Jake the Snake Damien, and I'm wearing it as a coat.
Here's the thing.
And then they were like, oh, that's cool. It's Damien. And he goes, no, I'm saying I killed this fucking snake. Like, it was like, he seriously was like hitting it hard. He's like, I don't think you guys understand how murderous of a thing I'm saying right now.
Somebody should have been in Cole's ear, like, as soon as he said Damien, because he said Damien, I popped. Because I was like, oh, shit, he's bringing it back. And Cole's just like, all right, Grandpa, cool. Thanks for the story. And he just like moved on to something else. And Ventura's like, no, you're not letting this go. You got to put it over, bro. And Cole's like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, they just completely brushed by it. It was weird.
I was cracking up. I go, wow, he told it twice. The same story twice. I'm like, he really wanted to hit it home.
Yeah, I mean, shit. They should have put it over. It's from their fucking TV. Anyway.
Oh, man. I just, like I said, I wish the opening had that old school video package where everybody gets to say, because they did that on Collision for the first several weeks, remember?
Right.
How?
Yeah. When Punk started the show, it was like, what, maybe like 30 seconds, and you had 3-4 quick spout. That's it.
I was going to say, well, actually, most people, so I mean, like, most people only get like 10 to 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Io Sky was like, Io Sky, WWE champion tonight. And then on to Drew McIntyre. Hey, Sami Zayn. But hers was very... they should have put subtitles up for her when she started getting into a little bit of Japanese. I'm like, I get we want to let her have a promo, but could you let me know what she's saying?
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
Yeah. The Legends. Tito Santana.
Mm-hmm.
Coco Beware.
Coco Beware, yeah.
And the fact that they actually let Chris Jericho be there, that was kind of fucking cool.
Honestly, that's the first time I think I've seen Greg Valentine smile like that. Remember when he was on AEW sitting in the crowd by himself during the one match? It was the dog collar match. Like, I don't think it was, I think it was the Brody Lee, John Moxley dog collar match. Yeah. Oh, Cody. Yeah, my bad. I don't know why I was thinking Moxley. Yeah. Yeah, dude, the side by side.
He looks like him. Holy shit. No shit, though. True story. In one day, I met Coco Beware, Tito Santana, and Greg the Hammer Valentine at the old radio station.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And, man, they were all cool as shit, but fucking Greg Valentine's hands, I've said this on this show before, bigger than a catcher's glove, like bigger than a mitt. I'm saying, like, the thing was like bare hands, and they were all beat and callous. I'm like, he could kill me with a punch. Like,
probably.
That thing is a fucking brick.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Bench.
Yeah, big guy. So it was great to see all the legends there. I did like the intro where you had Jesse and Tessitore talking at that little podium where Ventura was wearing his feathers. So it was the nostalgia, everything was there. I thought McIntyre and Zayn got it off to a hot start with the crowd. It was an old pace match too, it felt like.
Yeah.
It wasn't just the WWE wrestling style. I felt like it was, even the wrestling kind of had a nostalgic feel to it.
Face gets a hot start. The heel comes from underneath, gets his heat back. Sammy makes the comeback. Yep. Drew cuts him off, gets the win.
Yes. And one of my favorite things is that when Drew had Sammy and he threw him on the table, they showed it again in slow motion and didn't say we're going to break, but it said Saturday Night Continues. I was like, fuck me, that is so old school, because that's exactly how they would do it. They wouldn't say, we'll be back, because you always knew, especially with Michael Cole nowadays, when someone dies outside, he's like,
oh, I call it.
What's it going to be? Is it going to be blah, blah, blah? Or you're heading to break.
When I'm watching the Weezys, I do it all the time. I'm like, break.
Yep.
And
they can 100% tell.
Yeah, it's easy to tell. So you watched it after the fact, right? After it aired, right?
Yeah.
And so you got to skip through the commercials, or they just removed them.
It was removed.
One
hour, 22 minutes.
It was so old school, I had to sit through commercials like a regular TV show, like back 100 years ago, which I haven't done in fucking forever.
But you guys watch Raw.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Never mind. I retract my previous statement. But even those are a little bit different. But
I get it.
No, but it was good though because I was running late on dinner, so I played it and then I paused it. So I think I had a good 20-minute buffer, so I could skip through the
yeah.
first few set of commercials. Yeah.
Liv Morgan has gotten her second full-blown kick to the face. This time she didn't get concussed. What was it, Nikki or Brie that kicked her 6 times in the face while she was on her knees one time? It was one of the Bellas kicked her so many times, and she was clearly out in the middle of the ring.
I don't remember the
years
Bellas kicking Liv Morgan in the face.
One of them. Kind of doing like a Daniel Bryan kick to the chest, except she got her right into the face.
Fuck.
And she went down like a sack of potatoes. This time she stayed strong. She got a strong knee from Io Sky to the face.
It looked brutal.
And still fucking went on and like a champ, man. And she's a tough girl and retained her title. This is what Rhea shows up. I mean, I'm not sure how long we're going to keep pushing out. I think really the longest you can go is Royal Rumble. I don't think we want to wait all the way till WrestleMania for these two to have to meet.
No, I don't think so at all. I think you're better off pulling the trigger quick, maybe even on a Raw, maybe do it even, whenever, and move on and start plotting to kick something off at Rumble to get you to Mania. I agree with you. I don't think Liv.
You know what? I just realized something. Raw last night or the night before taped their next night or the next Raw because it's Christmas week, and from what I read, if I'm not mistaken, it's probably setting up, and I don't give a fuck if this is a spoiler to anybody. I think actually the Raw Netflix debut is also Rhea versus Liv Morgan.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
I mean they're packing it. They're basically making it a mini pay-per-view of sorts.
I can't
almost.
wait. It's funny because I have a list of events that we have coming up here. I put it in it. I put a Raw debut in there because it's that big so far.
Yeah.
Gunther retained against Baylor and Priest. Not gonna lie, there was a couple spots I thought Baylor was actually gonna win when he did the coup de grace on, I think, Gunther and got Priest out of the ring in time, or which one. It was just done real well. Gunther saved Damian Priest's life.
Fuck yeah.
For that powerbomb spot on the chair or on the steel steps.
Yeah, Priest got his foot caught when Gunther brought him up.
But let me say, it's both of them together.
Sure.
Because when he was starting to go down, Damian had to be able to go, yep, I'm ready, let's go. 1, 2, pull himself up at the same time too. But they saved the spot and it made Gunther look like a fucking beast.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess from what I heard is he got a lot of praise backstage because he could have, if he didn't hold on, he could have dropped Priest as soon as his feet touched. So it could have been bad. So Gunther's a pro, man. You know, it's crazy how I got no problem saying Gunther. And I was like, fuck that. His name is Walter. His mama named him Walter.
Yeah, right.
And now I don't give a shit what his name is. Wow.
Yeah. He's again. It's funny because
was Keith Lee.
I know, right? Fuck me. Yeah. Again, Whiskey Man and Weezy and Mrs. Weezy, they all hate Gunther. I fucking think he's awesome. I think again. We've been watching him forever. He's good, man. Undertaker loves him.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know right there.
Yeah. Well, there's other people Undertaker likes that we don't condone.
Yeah, that's true.
No.
Michelle McCool.
So look I said originally Michin should win the U.S. Championship. But then I said 2 weeks ago, I really want Chelsea Green to win, though. I think they're going to give it to Chelsea. And she won on SmackDown, getting herself to the finals, as did Michin, which we've been calling her that so long. What's her name?
Mia Yim.
Mia Yim. Wow. It's crazy how Michin got over. She had some really crazy looking faces backstage if you look at just how she was doing a promo. A lot of face work. Chelsea winning was sick. The fucking ending, how she did her finishing move off that top, like flipping over from the top rope and doing the move. You saw it on her face too when she hit it, like, motherfucker, it's it. And she didn't do what every other goddamn chick does, and this is why I like Chelsea Green. Did you see her cry?
Nope.
No. It was, motherfucker, I told you so. Piper picked me up. just sat there letting it all go in. That's a heel, man. You didn't do the. Oh my God. I'm the first champion. And man, even more heel. She goes to the ring wearing her picture all over her own gear.
Yeah.
I love her. Funny thing was, there was a picture of her and Matt Cardona at Disney the next day or something like that. And a bunch of the female wrestlers tweeted into it. They're like, I hope they say you're too small or too short to get in for a ride. I hope it rains all day. Everybody just shitting on her. And I was like, that's really funny.
That's awesome. Yeah, good for her, man. She's worked hard. Isn't she? I don't remember if it was you I talked to about this last week or if it was somebody else. On the indies, didn't she used to flash people? Wasn't that like her finisher? Or was that somebody else?
It was. I mean, yes and no. I think there was always like pasties.
Okay.
It wasn't really,
I mean, I don't care either. I'm not.
No. But I'm saying like maybe like something every now and then. Yeah, like I said, go back to All In 2018. She was on that card,
right?
And it was either that or Double or Nothing. But she came out Chelsea Green. She was in a wedding dress and acting psychotic as fuck. And I feel like that what she was wearing to the ring the other day, that white, I was like, oh yeah, it's a little bit like that, you know. And I just she's grown on me. And it's funny because I didn't realize this until someone put up a picture. Go back to when Stephanie McMahon started feuding in 2014 with Brie Bella. And Nikki turns heel and said that, I wish you died in the womb, which is still one of the funniest fucking lines I've ever heard. But during the whole thing, they had this girl come in and play a part and say she was friends with the Bellas. And Chelsea Green played that part back in 2014.
Yep.
2025 or 24, she's U.S. champ.
Wasn't she also like Daniel Bryan's therapist or something?
I think that had to do. That's what a part.
That's
of it
what
was.
It was part of
that's
it. Okay, I got you.
That was. Yep.
Right.
That's it. And it was in that feud time though. So it was. Oh, good shit. And in the main event, Cody Rhodes retained the Eagle Championship, baby, which was real sick to see. The reveal with a briefcase a couple days before, making it Pulp Fiction style, with just you just see gold and that's it. It's funny because the memes that came out automatically was just a bunch of stardust here inside of it because with the glow. First, I couldn't stop staring at it. It was just so beautiful to see again. It gave me nostalgia just looking at that championship. I'm like, it's the one, man. I'm like, 88 to 98, that was the belt. And why can't we use it again? Because it doesn't have a big giant W on it. You know? Yeah, come on, man. But it was weird how Michael Cole kept saying the Winged Eagle Winged Championship or something like that. He kept saying it weird where he was like the Eagle Winged Championship. He said it like twice that way, and I was like, just once. One wing. One
wing.
One belt. I don't know. I couldn't tell what he was saying. I thought he was telling me he was hungry. So, on Raw, War Raiders defeat Judgment Day for the tag titles with help of Damian Priest. I dig it. I thought we kind of needed some new tag champs at some point over there on Raw. It's been pretty much Judgment Day the whole time, minus Awesome Truth winning it at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and they brought up, they played the vignette for the War Raiders right before the match about how they fought through injuries and multiple surgeries, and their nerve pain is gone, and their back. So there was that story. But last week we talked about the reports are that Finn Balor's going to start getting a singles push, and if that's true, well, got to get the tag titles off of him. So there you go.
And you know who saved that team is Ivar. He went solo several weeks. Remember, he had like 2-on-1 matches with, I think it was like New Day or other guys, whatever it was, and he was still going by himself. He carried what needed to be done so that it was at least showing the worth, like, don't get rid of us. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it could have been like an injury-prone thing.
Mm-hmm. Like AOP. He also had to suffer through those Vikings-themed matches on Raw.
Yeah, well. So, coming up next week is, this Friday, by the way, is Final Battle for Ring of Honor, and the only match worth anything at all, is Matt Cardona versus Chris Jericho for the title. I bet you Jericho's just going to retain, and it's going to mean nothing. But AEW World's End is going to be on December 28th. So far, this is what we got for the lineup. You got the winner, the semifinal winners of both Block A and Block B. Those matches will take place, and then the championship final for the Continental Classic title up for grabs at the end. The World Championship will be on the line when Jon Moxley defends in a fatal four-way against Orange Cassidy, Hangnail Page, and Jay White, which I love. They made it like Darby Allin was the one that was really next in line, and he's not even anywhere in there.
Yeah.
He had him crash into a fucking car at the end of the last pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. And now gone.
MJF is defending his Dynamite Diamond Ring against Adam Cole because 1 year ago, Adam Cole reveals himself as the devil. Bam, we're going to fight for this little precious ring.
They have big showed this feud.
Oh my
They've
God, it's
both
horrible.
turned back and forth 3-4 times during this entire thing.
Yeah, we brought it up. We listed it all. It still doesn't make sense, and I still don't know who is who, and I don't care. Again, Mariah May is defending against Thunder Rosa for some reason, and it's a Tijuana street fight. And
Donkey
the
show?
International Championship is on the line when Konosuke defends against Powerhouse Hobbs. So, Takeshita's going to win that match.
Yeah, and see, this is the thing. Those are two of the people that we typically look to on the roster for AEW and say, these are like future stars. You got to start booking these guys right, which is laughable. We know that ain't happening. But here's the thing. Looking at that name, those names, that seems like it'd be a fucking good match. Problem is it's just going to be a match.
Mm-hmm. That's it. It'll probably earn a shitload of stars from Meltzer, but that's it. And here's why I think Takeshita is going to end up retaining, is because Wrestle Kingdom is on January 4th, and then on January 5th is Wrestle Dynasty. I'm just going to quickly run down what we got so far for Wrestle Kingdom. World Championship match is Zack Sabre Jr. going against Shota Umino. The Global Championship is on the line when David Finlay defends against Yota Tsuji. That I would be okay with a title change. Naito is facing, I guess they must have broken up, or he left LIJ, but Hiromu Takahashi, the guy that, was always in LIJ with him. Dookie is going against El Desperado for the Junior Championship, but this is the one that's I wanted to bring up. The Never Openweight Championship. Shingo Takagi is defending against Konosuke. Now, just that championship. If Takeshita ends up winning that championship, he is defending both championships the next night against Tomohiro Ishii. And why I say that is because this is Wrestle Dynasty. It's supposed to be AEW versus New Japan or something to the effect of. Why would we put Shingo Takagi against Tomohiro Ishii? New Japan versus New Japan. So I think Takeshita is actually going to win the championship and be a double champion heading into January 5th.
It's possible. I mean, it's the never open weight title, so not having it on, in Japan frequently, I don't think is going to be as detrimental as, say, Jon Moxley having the IWGP Heavyweight Championship.
I was going to say he brought that to America. So, so notable matches for and also at Wrestle Kingdom. We already said that Tanahashi is retiring 1 year from this Wrestle Kingdom. This is Wrestle Kingdom 19. He's retiring at Wrestle Kingdom 20. But if he loses to Evil in this lumberjack match at Wrestle Kingdom, he has to retire now, a year early. I kind of want to see them just pull the trigger and do it early and be like, I got you, motherfuckers. But he's not losing.
Yeah, I doubt it.
But Wrestle Dynasty, Zack Sabre Jr. and Ricochet are going to have a flip contest. That Never Openweight Championship and the International Championship possibly will be combined in that match. Yota Tsuji will be taking on Jack Perry, which, if he wins the championship against David Finlay, that could be for the Global Championship. there's an International Women's Cup where it's Willow Nightingale from AEW, Athena from Ring of Honor, so both AEW.
Persephone.
Persephone.
I tried to get you before you started.
I like Persephone from CMLL.
Persephone.
And someone from Stardom. It's still to be determined.
Oh,
the winner of this match is they get to go for the championship in their own company.
Okay, sure. I hope it's Maki Ito. I don't know if she's in Stardom or not, but that'd be fucking great at this point. Did you see fucking Mercedes Moné and Mira Shirakawa doing their dance off in New Japan? What the fuck, man?
They're facing off with each other at if it's not this pay-per-view.
It's it's Wrestle Dynasty, yeah.
It is Wrestle Dynasty.
Yeah, it
but
is.
They danced.
They just had a dance
ring
contest.
Doing the CEO dance.
And not even like a mean one. It was like a friendly, like they were at the club or something together.
They were just doing her CEO dance or boss dance.
Boo.
Kenny Omega goes against Gabe Kidd. Again, I'm a fan of Gabe Kidd. Shota Umino and Claudio Castagnoli have a match. David Finlay against Brody King, which would be a pretty good match. And the Young Bucks are taking on Great O'Khan and To Be Determined for the vacant IWGP Tag Team titles. Yeah. And there's an 8-man Lucha Gauntlet match.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's about right. All right, man. That was a lot of news, a lot of pay-per-views, a lot of stuff coming up, but we had to, let you know. But also, after next week, the week after, it is our award show where we let you know who was a wrestler of the year, tag team of the year, stable of the year, match of the year. We also got the what the fuck moments of the year.
Plenty of those.
Tony Khan taking a bump and getting hit in the ring. Boom. Let's go to the table.
Just bring it, bitch!
Oh my God!
I need you to go first because now I have a song in my head because of you.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in a second. A couple things I think that got glossed over for that Raw coming up. They did tease Penta showing up, so hopefully it makes up for the whole Braun Strowman fucking debacle.
A 0 with a line through it.
Yep. So
because it's no 0.
Cerro
Miedo,
yes. Not anyway. We'll blow past that.
Zeros.
Boo.
Anyway,
Javi sent me something. My kid, he sent me something the other day. There's somebody on the Indies. His name is Steven Flo, and he dresses like a grunge musician. The flannel tied around and his music is the music from Even Flow. But they have somebody sing over it saying, Steven Flo, Steven Flo, Steven Flo. That's what it is, dude. Good and terrible.
Eddie Vedder would hear that and be like, that's awesome.
Yeah, or we're going to sue.
But it had me thinking of the Family Guy scene where Eddie Vedder calls Better Call Saul. Well, I got into an accident and did it bad. Were you on anything? Ian Blow. So, mine's a dual. Bring it to the table. It's all in one. But first, if you have Tubi, that app, that app, dude, just type in wrestling. There are so many old school wrestling things on there, like Memphis wrestling, old CZW. You even get like documentaries about MJF and other wrestlers. One of the things on there was No Holds Barred. I put it on in the background while I was doing dishes. I just had the main event on. You jock ass. And Kurt Fuller, right? Yeah, it's Kurt. He's Brell. But I bet you thought that TNA was the originator of the six-sided ring. The match between Zeus and Rip, or Hogan, takes place in a six-sided ring in No Holds Barred.
No shit.
Yeah, it took me a minute. I go, wait a second. Holy shit, that never occurred to me before. So
yeah,
for that movie that came out in 1989.
Huh.
Dookie. Still one of my... I hate every time when he goes to get into bed, and he's trying to... He has the sheet between him and the chick, so they do, they can just stay on their side of the room. And to get in, he goes to give the bed a fucking elbow drop. And he's like, the bed broke. No shit, motherfucker.
Yeah.
All right, true story. That's what happened that night in the hotel.
Ruse.
I was trying to do an
elbow drop. Yeah,
my,
that makes more sense.
That desk in there, I just kind of did a Superfly Jimmy Snuka.
Well, it's like that episode of Stewie where he's fat and he gets on the one horse and it bends over. And he just like, well then, giddy up.
How many times are we getting into those Lane Bryant stretch pants, eh? All right, hey, man, so it's time to go to the Monday Night Wars. Oh, I did it, so it's going to sound like it's twice. Well, here it is. Monday Night Wars!
Mankind, moments from now, inside this boiler room, you're being forced to take on Santa Claus in a boiler room brawl. Now, I know what Santa means to you. I mean, I read the book, Santa Villages, the visits with the family. I mean, you can't be too happy about this.
Well, I'm not happy at all about this. My kids love that guy. Christmas is a few days away. I love Santa Claus. Now tell me, what am I supposed to do to prove what a tough guy I am? Do I slap him in his cheeks that are like roses? Do I kick him in his dimples so merry? Or better yet, do I put a big boot to his nose, which is just like a cherry? Does that make me a tough guy? Better yet, maybe Mankind, the king of the boiler room, should give him a big knee to his little round belly and watch it shake like a bowl full of jelly. Would that finally make me look like a tough guy? You answer me, Michael Cole, because I really don't know. Am I supposed to take this match? Am I supposed to... Hey, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Hey, I think you must feel goofy from Bradshaw's chair shot, because I'm having an interview with Santa Claus right now. I don't really need the posse hanging around.
There's Gophers for Triple H and Stephanie, the Main Street Posse, pulling Mankind.
You thought the end of 97 for Bret Hart was bad. I gotta say, 1999 is a real kick in the head, if you will, for...
Ain't that a kick in the head?
Yeah, Owen gets a point up at the thing after winning that one match. And then faces Goldberg in what is the career-ending injury for him. I mean, I'm not sure if he goes directly right into... No, not right away, obviously, because of Nitro. But, yeah, man, it's the match. The one that everybody says that Bret Hart is still bitter about with Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg doing Bill Goldberg things. Let's go.
Well, it's Starrcade 99. It's in Washington, D.C. That's December 19th, 1999. It's great during the intro package. They're showing different wrestlers, like, clips of different wrestlers. And then Sid comes up, and right before they cut to the next wrestler, you see up on the screen in like small letters, like right above it, it says, "Is this the end?" And then Bret Hart's picture comes up. Kind of ironic, don't you think? Then there's a second intro package, because you got to have two. Scott Hudson narrated the first one, and Scott Hudson joined Shivani and Bobby the Brain Heenan on commentary for this. I have a bad feeling we're going to be hearing him a lot coming up in the next year.
Mm-hmm.
We open up with a star-studded event. It's Disco Dick Nuts and Lash LaRue versus Big Vito and Johnny the Bull with Tony Marinara. Yeah, you heard me. Johnny the Bull goes for a springboard and slips.
I don't think you know what star-studded event technically means.
Exactly, roofling. Dick Nuts unknowingly hits his finish on LaRue. The Guidos win. Marinara does the worst ether job ever to Disco Dish Rag. They put Dish Rag in a body bag and take him away to sleep with the fishes. Get it? They show commentary, and the only thing of note is that Bobby Heenan is now rocking the Gorilla Monsoon glasses. Like the gradient shade. I don't know if that's out of respect or what, but he's definitely rocking the same glasses. Shivani mentioned...
age.
What's that? It could be that, too. That was the style at the time. Shivani mentions that Scott Hall has a knee injury and he can't compete against Benoit. So the championship committee, in all its brilliance, decided to just, we're just going to give the title to Benoit. Fuck it. No match. Well, then Benoit comes to the ring in plain clothes and he says, titles are to be won. I'm here to kick some ass.
The fans came here to see a ladder match, so the title's vacant and it's an open challenge. Next, you get Medusa versus Evan Courageous with Spice for the Cruiserweight title. You can't make this shit up. Medusa taunts Courageous to hit her, and boy, did he. He loaded up and
leveled.
Evan Courageous had to hit a bitch that night. Spice distracts Courageous, then does the worst low blow ever. I mean, she went to do the arm under the crotch, and she kind of like tapped him in the dick. It was so fucking bad.
He's like, I kind of liked it.
I know, probably. Medusa ends up winning the Cruiserweight title. Norman Smiley's with Gene. He's in a Redskins uniform. Yes, I know it's the Commanders. At the time, it was the Redskins. Gene says, "You're frightened of Meng." And Smiley asks for Gene to check if Smiley soiled himself. And Gene says, "Yeah, you did."
I think I'm making him shit himself.
Yeah. Will you teach me to football?
That was on this past weekend.
I love that movie.
As I was leaving, it was on right before the Bills game, and I went to go to the store. And as it was coming on, I was showing my wife. I go, "There's 4 different wrestlers in this movie, like Nash, Austin,
Goldberg, Ray Khali.
That's the last 2." And I was like, and Austin is at his all-time racist finest.
I know.
Jeez, it's like uncomfortable. I'm like, poor Nelly.
It is bad, yeah. What Nelly ever do to you?
I know.
So it's Meng versus Norman Smiley for the hardcore title. Honestly, the Benny Hill music should have been playing during this entire match.
You mean the pay-per-view, but okay.
Well, yeah. Fit Finley and Brian Knobs end up coming in. They go after Meng. It takes a while. They eventually knock him out. Smiley gets the pin with one hand on Meng, so as soon as the ref counts 3, Smiley can just run off. Neil Patrick checks on Meng, and Meng comes to and hits the death grip to Nick Patrick. So there's that at least. David Flair gets a delivery in his locker room. Remember, this is a pay-per-view, not Nitro. And he opens the box, and it's a golden crowbar. Because, that's been his thing lately. Next, you get Jim Duggan with Mike Tenay. And Tenay wants to know, well, who are the mystery partners that you have for tonight? And he's, well, just wait because the match is right now. So it's the Revolution versus Jim Duggan and mystery partners. If Revolution wins, Duggan will have to denounce the USA. If the Revolution loses, they'll have to take over Jim Duggan's janitorial duties for the next 30 days. And again, you can't make this shit up. And this is the fucking only thing that saved this. And it saved it in the worst way possible. It's the fucking Varsity Club. It's Mike Rotunda, Kevin Sullivan, and Rick Steiner. I'm not going to lie, I popped.
I seriously was like, what year is this?
Exactly. But now they have a sexy Asian cheerleader with them. So, I mean, at least it's modernized, right? So there is that. I wrote, okay, this is cool as shit. Not really, but all things considered. Duggan fights the first 5 minutes on his own. It turns into a brawl. Sullivan hits a corner knee on Asia. And then the Varsity Club just turns on Jim Duggan, which I have to say, that part was cool.
It's just, I don't even know why they even did this. Nobody in this crowd even knew that these guys were in the
exactly
Varsity Club together.
Some of the parents maybe did. That's about it.
People are like, why is IRS tagging right now with Rick Steiner?
And who's the old short fat guy?
Could have been any one of those 3.
Yeah, and then Varsity Club goes after Revolution, and then Shane Douglas just leaves commentary and pins Duggan because Russo. Gene's with the Misfits. They have OK, or Oklahoma in a shark cage. And next we get Vampiro versus Dr. Death. If Vampiro wins, he gets 5 minutes in the ring alone with OK. So it's so fucked up because I was watching Dr. Death come in, and they have his video for his entrance on the Tron, and they have a clip of OK doing stroke face as part of his entrance video. It's so fucked up, and the camera caught it right at the perfect time. It was terrible.
But he hasn't pulled his cheek like we do.
Yeah, well, the joys of radio. The Misfits swarm Dr. Death cleans house. Dr. Death won't break the 5 count. Lil Nate tries to pull him off. Death shoves him. Vampiro wins via DQ. Dr. Death continues to beat down post-match, so the 5 minutes won't be so bad, right? They start the timer while OK is still in the cage. It takes them like 2 minutes to get him out. This was just shit. So apparently it was an actual match, and fucking OK gets offense in. The Misfits come in. Vampiro gets the win. Hooray. Next, you get Creative Control with Kurt Hennig and Shane versus Harlem Heat, a number 1 contenders match for the tag titles. Today's with Harlem Heat and Midnight. They play the Yoko game here, basically. Midnight is Yoko. Stevie Ray's not happy about her being there.
She do that, Yoko? That kind?
Yeah,
you
sure.
Haven't seen that?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Where she's singing with Chuck Berry?
Yes. And Chuck Berry's looking at it like, what the fuck is up with this bitch?
Turn this bitch, Mike.
Turn it. Oh! Let's see. Booker comes out by himself, then Midnight arrives. Stevie Ray eventually shows up. Booker tells him to leave. Hennig uses the Nux on Booker while Midnight and Stevie Ray argue, and Creative Control get the win. Hooray. Mike Tenay's with Dustin. We get a promo about Dusty getting fired, then he cuts a promo on Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett comes in and starts the match because it's a bunkhouse brawl match. They end up in the ring. Hennig shows up, pulls the ref out at a 2 count. Dustin sets up Shattered Dreams on Hennig, hits it. Jeff Jarrett hits a guitar shot from the top of the ladder, and Jeff Jarrett wins. Next, you get DDP versus David Flair in a crowbar on a pole match. Again, you can't make this shit up. David takes out DDP.
Well, someone did, by the way.
Unfortunately. David takes out DDP with a crowbar at the start of the match. Pinzer says, talks to the ref, and he's about to announce that DDP can't compete, and DDP stops him, shoves Pinzer to the floor. Just as a note, there is a crowbar on the pole, and David has his new gold crowbar with him. Kind of eliminates the point. Keep in mind, watching this and taking notes was what I was doing on my Saturday morning.
Oh, man. You must have been really bored Saturday morning.
Yeah, no. It's just I had to get it done. David gets the crowbar on a pole, but DDP ducks it, hits a cutter, gets the win. Hits an avalanche cutter. And then he goes to hit David with the crowbar, and the goth chick comes in to shield him. And then DDP grabs Little Nate like he's about to hit him with a cutter and then just bounces. Next, it's Sting with Liz versus the Total Package. If Sting wins, Liz's contract with Luger is null and void. Sting asks Liz on their way to the entrance if she has the mace, shows him the can. Finally, she actually has an aerosol can, not a fucking spray bottle. Sting says, you know what, tonight I got the high-octane stuff. You toss that other one. Throw it out. No, go throw it out. This is an obvious swerve. She comes in during the match to go to spray Sting, and again, she has no fucking timing, and she didn't even hit him in the face. She hit him in the chest. It was a can of silly string. She comes back with the bat. She drops it. Sting turns around. She gets it back, and she swings. I don't care how gimmicked that bat was, and it was gimmicked as hell because they showed it on the entrance. It's like they took a piece of foam and they just like smoothed it out and carved it in the shape of a bat. It was... Yeah, she hit Sting right in the fucking jaw with it. They had to sell it like, oh, fuck, now we got to sell this.
I guess kill him.
She gets a chair, sets up Sting's wrist to get Pillmanized. It's great because Sting did a good job of selling being unconscious. I mean, I'll give him that. But the best part is the end of this. It was another sign that TK is just doing Nitro. Because you got a guy that just got cracked in a jaw with a fucking baseball bat. You don't want a stretcher, a neck collar, a backboard, or any of that stuff. Let's just pick him up and carry him to the back.
Pretty sure it's exactly what they did with
Danielson.
After being choked out with a fucking plastic bag.
It's uncanny how much. Next, you get Nash versus Sid in a powerbomb versus powerbomb match. We get a ref bump because wrestling. Jeff Jarrett hits a guitar shot to Sid. Nash tries to set up for a powerbomb, but sells his back. He tries again. He can't hit it, so he just wakes up the ref and says, yo, I hit the powerbomb. And the ref's like, oh, word? For real, you win. Because Russo.
Oh, word?
Benoit versus for the U.S. title, a ladder match. It's Jeff Jarrett. Calls Benoit slapnuts. He goes, crippler my ass. Benoit, I think, got popped in the nose.
He's like, yeah? Let me talk about 2007.
Yeah,
Let me show you what I can do, crippling.
Christ.
Sorry.
Nah, that's okay. If it wasn't you, I would have done it. Benoit gets to the top of the ladder, and Jeff Jarrett gets on the top buckle and drop kicks the ladder out from under him. It was a nice looking spot because Benoit, he didn't jump. But he got his feet out from under him, so he didn't take a bad bump. He did a really good job with it. It looked great. The crowd fucking was on their feet for it.
To be honest with you, I mean, all jokes aside, because I know that everything that he did with his head, but he was phenomenal in ladder matches.
Mm-hmm.
He was in a couple, like he was in a tag one where him and Jericho were defending the tag titles in a TLC match. Did an Intercontinental title one with Jericho one-on-one. The Money in the Bank ones where like he was hitting the side and would fall off the fucking top of the ladder and land, or even obviously his headbutts. He was solid in ladder matches. I think underrated, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 100%. Then he gets to the top of the ladder, hits the flying headbutt. Crowd, again, pop. Benoit wins. I think this is the first WCW pay-per-view match I've enjoyed in quite some time. This was a fucking good match. But don't worry, they'll ruin it on Nitro.
Yep.
All right, you get your main event. It is Bret Hart versus Bill Goldberg for the world title. Michael Buffer is back. Goldberg does his iconic give himself a concussion before coming out of the locker room. Kind of ironic, don't you think? We get 2 ref bumps. Bret does the figure 4 on the post spot. Bret actually did a pretty good job of working this match, all things considered. He works the leg. We get a 3rd ref bump, and then it happens. Bill Goldberg kicks Bret's head through his head. We get a spear. Piper comes out as ref. Bret takes out Bill Goldberg's knee. Sharpshooter. Piper calls for the bell before the sharpshooter was even fully locked on. Piper leaves with the world title. Hudson says it's Montreal all over again because Russo, because we can't just let this fucking thing die. Bret stops.
Like, it's not even your company that you're mentioning it.
Exactly. Bret stops Piper at the top of the ramp, and Piper just hands him the title. I have one thing I've got to say. I've got to say it. Watching this back and watching how Bret was after the match, or, after the finish, it didn't look like it was that bad of a kick.
He did move on and do a lot, but apparently, I mean, it's just that was the
long
term. He knows he got kicked, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I'm not trying to say it's not. I'm just saying.
I get it, but I thought the same thing. I'm like, I got to be honest. I never watched this pay-per-view or this match up until now, and I went, oh shit, he's still wrestling and like
coherent.
I mean, go back and what happened to Lesnar, Taker? Taker worked more than half a match at WrestleMania concussed.
Yeah, that's true.
But the person who could walk him through the match was Lesnar. Lesnar could be like, this is what we're doing. And Taker's like, I trust him. Yeah, let's go. I highly doubt Bret's like, hey, Bill, why don't you tell me what we're doing next?
Right. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just weird. All right, so let's get Nitro out of the way here. Next night, December 20th, 1999, Nitro's in Baltimore. I get another alert on the cock. Presented in the most complete format possible due to original production technical difficulties. I didn't notice anything glaring. You let me know if I leave something out here. Medusa and Spice come to the ring. Medusa doesn't have the title with her. Why would she? Buzzkill's in the crowd. Medusa says women are dominating WCW with TNA, yada yada. Open challenge so I can neuter your ass. Tenay says, where do I sign up for that? You want to sign up to get your ass neutered? I mean, hey, you do you, Tenay. Buzzkill's got a sign demonstrating women's rights, so Medusa calls her out, and they have a match, and Spice distracts the ref and throws something to Medusa. She uses it, and she wins. Hooray. Piper arrives to the arena, has his kid with him. Creative control get him. Russo wants to see you. Next, you get Hugh Morris versus Kurt Hennig. And then we see some spaz in a ghost face mask, from Scream, beating up Shane in the back. Then some old guy in a hospital gown comes wandering out. It's Hugh Morris's dad. Dad, Pops, go sit down. Go sit down. He comes back. The distraction allows Hennig to win. Hooray.
This was not a very Bill DeMott scene.
This was it was not.
The Scream mask. Just saying. David Arquette was in Scream.
This is true. And it won't be long. It won't be long yet. Never mind.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
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 So lame. Piper's with Russo. Russo says he's in fucking control. You made the deal with the devil. And he said fucking. They bleeped it. You lay one hand on me, the deal is off. You tell the people that last night you sold out and I had nothing to do with it. If you don't, the deal's off. Piper cuts a promo on Russo. The best part is the audio feed they had turned up from the crowd. So it just drowned out Piper's entire promo. And then he tells Russo he set him up and calls him a drag queen. Because Russo. This I kind of liked. It was an attempt to salvage this whole shitty storyline, but, too little too late. Nash comes to the ring and he talks about breaking into the business, becoming one of the boys. And he says one of the codes is the boys never screw one of the boys. And he goes, the boys in the office, they're two entities. The office takes and takes. They don't give a shit about us. Again, he said shit. He says, we got no benefits, medical, dental, retirement, disability. They don't even pay Social Security. Goldberg, what happened to you was bullshit. Brett, you broke that code. You screwed one of the boys. You're nothing but a piece of shit. And then Schiavone goes, and we'll be right back.
Man, if we had a real live radio show, that'd be the best way for us to go into a break. After something weird like this, and we'll be right back.
Gonna have to put that one in the back
This
pocket.
shit gets weird.
Let's see here. Next, you got Tank Abbott versus Jerry Flynn. Security comes and try to break him up, and the crowd boos. Hooray. Revolution come to the ring. They start cutting a promo on Duggan. He has to come out and denounce the USA. Duggan won't do it. Duggan gets beat down. Douglas is ready to burn the flag, and we get the return of the Filthy Animals. Rey Mysterio's on one crutch, and the heels powder. All right. Piper comes to the ring. Says Brett and Bill Goldberg are watching in the back separately. Piper says he sold out, and he starts mentioning all his accomplishments from WWF. He calls out Russo. He says, you want right in on all this clown baloney, didn't you? These people don't want to see it. They want to see guys fight. He puts over Goldberg, apologizes. He says, you want me to do this dog and pony baloney? I quit. He rambles, bounces. Goldberg comes out to the ramp, says Piper was one of the respectable wrestlers until last night. Bret Hart comes out, says, don't pin this on me. Your heat's with the office. He ain't lying. As far as I'm concerned, this belt is vacant. It will be a bunch next year. I can tell you that. This title is going to be vacant about 6 to 8 times in 2000.
I think vacant has the most reigns in 2000 for WCW.
100%. That's not even a joke. It's 100% accurate.
No.
Bret Hart says, I'm going to bring this to the office and tell them to shove it up their ass. Bret goes
pushing the buttons on our swearing tonight.
They really are. Bret goes to Russo's office, runs him down, calls him a piece of shit, and you can shove this title up your ass. Russo says, fine, you can fight Goldberg tonight. Hooray. Next, you get Norman, Smiley, and Mang versus Fit Philly and Brian Knobbs in a hardcore tag match. Mang starts beating up Smiley before the opponents even come out. They end up in the bathroom, and Knob gets the pin on Smiley. Next, you get the Maestro versus Evan Courageous. Symphony gets involved. Maestro gets a pin, and Courageous is a cuck.
That's another really good wasted title name for a show. Maestro gets a pin. Courageous is a cuck.
Courageous is a cuck. We might actually be able to pull that one off.
I don't know.
And
I don't know what this logo we got working here.
Yeah, right. Yeah. By the way,
I couldn't use the workout photo.
Yeah, you didn't use
Chelsea
the right
Green.
picture for Chelsea. Yeah. In our WTF moment of the night, maybe the month, maybe the fucking year of doing the wars, we see Roddy Piper with a baseball bat destroy Russo's office. But it's not like he came in the office and smashed the table and threw shit around. No. They actually showed the 2-wall set that is the quote-unquote office, and Piper just beating it down. Man, Tony Khan really did pull a ton from WCW.
Before making AEW, WWE had a big garage sale in like 2018. They're like, we don't need these old office doors that people used to use for their fake things. We'll take them. We'll use them.
Yeah, right. Next we see Chavo.
It is pretty funny, though. The same exact shitty-looking rooms and offices.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the money, by the way. He's got money. Like you have, like the money you put into a lot of things. That's not one of them.
Yeah.
Quit buying rights to November Rain and other fucking good like songs. That's even a good song. And like Carry On My Wayward Son.
Well, he's got these GED construction guys coming in and putting these things together. You know. Chavo sees
my electricity.
Exactly. There you go. Chavo asks Evan Courageous, "Hey man, you all good? Well, I got something, man. I'll help you out." And it's a book says how to pick up chicks. Courageous beats the shit out of Chavo. Next, you get Chris Champagne Canyon with his crew versus Bam Bam versus DDP. DDP and Bam Bam end up just double teaming Canyon. Mr. Biggs is on commentary. DDP hits a cutter on Bam Bam, threatens to hit one of the refs. DDP just kisses some rando chick at ringside, then bounces. And then Canyon smashes a champagne bottle on Bam Bam's head and gets the win. It looked like he cut his hand up during it. It doesn't look like anything was gimmicked well, or he still got a pretty nasty shard. As soon as he fucking hit it, he looked at his hand like, ah!
If I'm not mistaken, at WrestleMania 2000, they do something of the same thing in a hardcore match. And I don't think it was that well gimmicked because the guy who uses it immediately looks at his hand like, oh, what the fuck? That hurt. Like, Jesus.
Like Randy the Ram at a deli counter.
A little less. A little more.
Yeah.
And just eat some of the potato salad. How's that? A little less.
Next, you get Creative Control versus Kevin Nash in a handicap match. Hall comes out on crutches. There's no ref. Hall plays coy, uses the crutches to attack Creative Control. We cut to Luger in the crowd. He's dressed as Sting with Liz with him, and they're mocking, hitting him with a baseball bat. Next, you get Chris Benoit versus Jeff Jarrett in a U.S. title ladder match. You may ask yourself, didn't we just do this? Yes, we did, because Russo. And this is not a joke. It's because Russo said, well, it was unfair. Jeff Jarrett had to wrestle twice on the pay-per-view. Jeff Jarrett wins by gimmicking the ladder used by Benoit. He gets interviewed by Gene post-match, and Jeff Jarrett says, this is bullshit. Hennig comes in. Russo wants to see him in the limo ASAP. Next, you get Sid versus The Wall with Berlin. Berlin tries to interfere. Sid powerbombs him. Wall stares him down. Sid offers a handshake, and The Wall and Sid shake hands, and that's it.
Sid's like, you're like the same IQ as me, a Wall.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's be friends.
Got half the brain that you do. It's funny. I saw something, that there was that backstage promo he cut the other Nitro. It was a week or two ago where he had the kid with Down syndrome with him. I read something that apparently that was his real life next door neighbor.
Yeah, I actually just saw that not too long
pretty
ago.
Cool. Again, another reason to love Sid.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett's at the limo with Russo. Again, Russo's in the limo. The door's open. You can see his arm, and that's about it. And Russo says he has another surprise for Jeff Jarrett, and Jeff Jarrett's all excited. Hooray. Tony Marinara is with Pops. The Goons come in with Disco. A bunch of Godfather lines. You got two choices, Disco. You can join the family and do whatever Tony orders you to do, or two, you can spend the rest of your life in a coma. Because that's my fucking business.
And hopefully, you'll just be coming out of your coma. The other day, another one of the scenes came up where, did you put your feet up on his table and call my friend a maggot? Hits him in the head with the fucking payphone
It's fucking
handle.
Great. Yeah.
You stinky cow-eating shit motherfucker, you.
All right, next you get the Varsity Club back again versus Harlem Heat. Sullivan joins commentary, brings up, and even he fucking shoots, quote unquote, saying that Bill Goldberg got screwed. Rotunda does the Varsity Club thing where he makes fun of the university in the hometown that they're in, so Maryland University specifically. And then they do this round robin thing where Sullivan goes and fights in the match, and Steiner goes to commentary. Then Steiner goes back in the match, and Rotunda goes to commentary, and then back to Sullivan. Midnight comes up. They distract Stevie Ray, and Rotunda gets the roll-up. And then PG-13 comes in and attacks Varsity Club. PG-13 is Wolfie D and JC Ice. They look like AEW wrestlers. And the best part is when they powder to leave, they trip over each other.
I'm hoping that was on purpose.
I hope it wasn't. Next, you get Gothy McGothface running into the Misfits, and they make fun of her tattoos, and then she bites one of their noses and runs off screaming. Could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood. Your nose could be... What do you mean? No? Nothing, huh?
Batman Returns?
Batman Returns, yeah.
Bam, I'm good.
I can't even anymore. Next, it's David Flair with Gothy McGothface, a.k.a. Daphne Unger. There you go. That's who it is.
I knew
Didn't even recognize her.
When I told you, I'm like, it's turning into someone, I promise you.
Yeah. Flair attacks David Pinzer, calls out Vampiro. Vampiro comes to the ring, apologizes, and then he says, I apologize that you're a psycho freak. Flair attacks him with the crowbar, and then Daphne does. I'm just about done with this, and there's more to go. Next, it's Gene with Buff. He wants a title shot, never says which one. And then Gene brings up an apparent rumor about Buff and Kimberly being involved. Buff cuts Gene off and walks away. And then Buff says if she wasn't married, Buff would put his stuff all over her. Phrasing and you.
It's another thing with the logos we got going on here. I'm not sure Buff all over their stuff is a good thing with Jericho and Valentine looking down at the Or they could put their muff. All right.
Okay. All right. Piper's in the locker room with the boys. He says goodbye to Sid. He says Merry Christmas to everybody. Gets emotional and says, "Rally! You guys got to rally against the powers that be." Okay, Boomer. Thank God we're at the main event. It's Bret Hart versus Goldberg for the world title again. We see Jeff Jarrett cozying up to a monitor in the locker room with a frosty surge. Goldberg yet again concusses himself before the match. We get a ref bump. Outsiders come to the ring with bats, and they attack Goldberg. And then they hand one to Bret, and he lays in a shot. Piper comes to the ring and goes after Bret. The ref counts 3, but Piper was on top of Goldberg, so I don't know. Jeff Jarrett comes to the ring with a guitar and a bag, hits a guitar shot to Piper. And in the bag are cans of spray paint. Meanwhile, Nash is trying to rip Piper's shirt off to the point where he's trying to use his teeth to break the seam. It's fucking hilarious. He can't get it. And they spray paint very shittily on Goldberg's back, NWO. To the point where if you knew, you knew. Shivani had to mention it, and then they play the NWO music. Bret tries to cut a promo. The mic's not on. Nash says the band is back together, and they form NWO 2000. Think about this. It is December 1999, 2 years after the Montreal Screwjob, which they just referenced in his last match the night before. And Bret Hart is now part of the clique. Kind of a kick in the head, don't you think?
I would say probably not by choice.
Well,
and I get the kick in the head reference. It's not like he's like, I'd really like to tag up with Nash and Hall, the friends of the guy that fucked me over. Because up until this point, he still thinks Michaels is obviously in on it and everything with Vince. So it sounds like a Vince Russo idea. Bro, we're going to put you in the NWO. No one will see it coming.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Good night, folks. So we'll move on to Raw. This is your holiday-themed Raw emanating from Houston. Triple H and Stephanie are in the locker room. Steph has a Santa hat on. There's a Christmas tree present, and Mean Street Posse are their butlers. We get Michael P.S. Hayes. Actually, it's just Michael Hayes now on commentary because Jerry Lawler's in L.A. for the premiere of Man on the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Opens up Test versus New Age.
He's like, I'm Doc Hendricks. I got a shirt for you to have right here. The Shawn Michaels glasses.
It's Test versus the New Age Outlaws in a handicap match. Test had his nose broken by Triple H on SmackDown. He's wearing the Bill Lambier mask. We see Edge and Christian and the Hardys watching from the back. They're concerned about their good buddy Test. The Outlaws win. Edge and
By
Hart.
the way, it's the second broken nose from Test.
Yeah, pretty much.
By Triple H to
Test.
Test.
Yes. So Edge and Christian and the Hardy
really took Stephanie away from this dude.
Yeah, I know, right? They took everything from him. Edge and Christian and the Hardys are brought to Triple H and Stephanie. Edge and Matt, they book a match that's going to be Edge and Matt Hardy versus Christian and Jeff Hardy. There you go.
Interesting concept.
Kurt Angle comes in, and Triple H books Kurt against Viscera. And this is great because I didn't realize it started this early. Right here is where they start, where Stephanie's got a thing for Kurt Angle. Because she's like, I don't like that you did that. I don't like that you did that. You shouldn't have booked that match. It's fucking, it's awesome. I didn't realize that.
It's light upon it, and it's all the way into SummerSlam 2000 is when he kisses her.
Yep.
While concussed.
Long-term storytelling. Shitty or not, it's still long-term.
Even though she's dressed like a ho-ho-ho.
Exactly. I'll give that a light boo. So you do get Edge and Matt versus Christian and Jeff. Christian and Jeff win. Matt ends up with a busted nose. Moolah and Mae Young go into Steph's locker room, and they book him in a triple threat match against the Dudleys and the Acolytes. Moolah calls Stephanie a disgrace, and Steph says they should go and give JR his gift. And JR just goes, oh, no.
Oh, no.
Sounded a little British, but you know. So Triple H and Steph head to the ring. JR joins them. Triple H is pissed off because JR was putting over Entertainment Weekly that listed Vince and The Rock as some of the most, influential entertainers in the world at the time. And he didn't bring up Triple H and Steph. And Triple H says, Kevin Dunn, put it on the Tron. And they put pictures of Triple H and Stephanie on the pillars next to the Tron. Stephanie wants to apologize for slapping JR, but she said it felt kind of good.
You do know that the pillar parts of the Tron there with them, that's here to stay for quite some time.
Oh, that I did not realize. Hooray.
Like weekly, we're going to be seeing their fucking faces.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, Triple H goes to break JR's arm again. Mankind's music hits. Tells Triple H to pick on someone his own size. And he says, you know what, honestly, the McMahon-Helmsley era kind of sucks. And he says, Stephanie, you're defaming Santa by wearing a Santa hat. All I know is, and I know he walks around saying ho, 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 but I'm sure you're not the type of ho he had in mind. I mean, not bad.
My joke was better.
I don't think so. Triple H tells Mankind, you're going to be in a boiler room match tonight, but I'm not telling you who it is. And then Stephanie slaps Mankind, but the best part was she slapped him on the side of the head hard. Not I understand winding up for a slap to the face, but she whiffed it. She hit him right in the temple.
I was going to say it was in the temple.
It did not look comfortable.
She could have hit him in the ear. I don't think that would have mattered on that one, on that side.
Well, he's missing half of it anyway, so.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay. There you go. Next, you get Kurt Angle versus Viscera. Kurt wishes the fans a Merry Christmas, and he says, I've got a new idea for you fans for your New Year's resolution. It's the 3 eyes. Triple H and Stephanie are watching, and Steph, again, not happy that Triple H booked him against Viscera. And then Blackman comes out, hits Viscera in the heat with a kendo stick. Angle hits an angle slam for the win, and Steph calls him Kurt Cute. Next, you get Moolah and Mae Young.
This angle, man. During this angle, this era, I liked this badass version of Stephanie.
Mm-hmm. Well, she's letting it all go, right? Because she's always been quiet and timid, and now she's fucking right in front of the camera with Triple H. She's fucking eating it up. That's not all she's eating up. But anyway.
Stephanie, in 99 and 2000, you were a good whore.
Bingo.
Nobody serviced my crank the way you did. Yo, last week, are you familiar with the cranks? Not as much as you.
Yeah. It's bam, 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 bam. Dick jokes. Let's save it for later. It's Moolah and Mae Young versus the Dudleys versus the Acolytes because Attitude Era. Dudleys go right in after Mae and Moolah before the Acolytes even get there. Bubba pins Mae Young. Henry makes a save post-match. Triple H gives Stephanie a gift. It's a Santa figure and says that's who Mankind's fighting in the boiler room. Cole goes to discuss it with Mankind, who's not too happy. Mean Street Posse jump him, shove him into the boiler room. We see one Santa, then 3 more Santas, then 2 more, then another one. I'm pretty sure Mean Street Posse were the first ones, and then it was the Outlaws, and then it was Triple H. Hooray. So Santo wins. Al Snow goes to Triple H and Stephanie's office, wants a match against The Rock tonight, and he wants it to be a Brahma bull rope match. Godfather versus Jericho for the IC title. JR says, Godfather has 6 restaurant-quality holes with him tonight.
Restaurant quality.
I still don't know why he says that. Chyna comes out, hits a low blow to Godfather while the ref's distracted by the hose. Next, you get BB and Terry Runnels in the office. Triple H tells them, BB, tonight you're going to be with Val Venus. Terry, you're going to be with Hardcore Holly. And we're going to have our first ever holiday topless top rope match. And JR goes, cool. The rules are cool. Yeah, he just said cool. The idea behind this match is you throw your opponent over the top rope. When they hit the floor, their manager removes a piece of clothing until you're topless, because Attitude Era. And the winner's going to get an IC title shot on SmackDown. Triple H says, let the breast woman win, and Stephanie smacks him. So let's have that match right now. The women stay at the top of the ramp. Val Venus says, you women are a lot like a Christmas tree. You smell good, you're pretty to look at, but you'll never really feel special until I plug it in and light you up. Ew. At this point, I saw a fan with a sign in the crowd with the logo that we've been seeing on the Tron. I figured it out.
And?
I mean, do you want me to say it now, or you just want to wait? I'll tell you that he is the one to break Kurt Angle's undefeated streak.
Okay, that's what I was going to say. Mm-hmm. And what you're seeing is not, his debut isn't all the way until then anyway. We're going to keep seeing that logo from now until Royal Rumble.
Yep. A bunch of other people show up around that time too. Mm-hmm. So let the games begin. Both of them start by going over the top rope. Terry starts with her shoes when Triple H says, shoes are not clothing. Let's start with the dresses. And Michael Hayes goes, yeah! So they just take off their dresses. They're in their bra and panties. Val Venus touches the floor. BB has to take her bra off. Triple H says, you got to do it or your job's on the line. Wow, it's just like a Vince. And JR says, put the women and children to bed.
I know who wrote this one.
Yeah, exactly. And then Triple H pulls out his leather jacket in front of BB so he can see her tatters, but the crowd can't. And then Val Venus is shockingly looking on from ringside, like, how would you degrade women like that? Next, it's Al Snow versus The Rock in a Brahma bull rope match. Outlaws interfere. Road Dogg hits a chair shot on Rock. Mr. Ass hits a Famouser, and Snow wins. Upset win, but 3 different instances of interference. We're back to the office or the locker room. Rodney knocks over a vase and spills water on Triple H and Stephanie. Triple H says, you know what? I'm not going to freak out about it. I'm going to give you a match against 2 members of Too Cool. Then we see Tori with Triple H and Stephanie, who I had to look at first because it looked like she was just straight up wearing underwear, but no, that was just her fucking ring attire. And said, you know what, we're going to give Kane a shot at the WWE title, but if Kane loses, Tori, you have to spend the holidays with X-Pac. Slavery. Next, you get Mean Street Posse and Too Cool. Mean Street Posse versus Too Cool and Rikishi Fatu. I guess Triple H lied. Too Cool wins. Next, you get Kane with Tori versus The Big Show for the world title. Triple H and Stephanie are watching from the top of the ramp. They're sitting on a recliner. They're making up rules as they go. First, they call it no DQ. They get a count out. Steph says no count out. Triple H says might as well make it falls count anywhere. Outlaws come to the ring. A distraction lets Show hit a power bomb to the announce table. Show retains. The Outlaws carry Tori to X-Pac. And Triple H gets on the mic and says, this has been a lot of fun for us. X-Pac, have a very raw Christmas.
Call the locksmith. Call the locksmith.
He's going to deflower her in a tower. Ew.
Ew. Such a good one. Well, that is the end of the wars. I'm going to, we haven't said this in a couple of weeks, maybe a year or two, but I think Raw took this one.
I think that's a safe call. Yeah, I can get down with that.
Fair enough. Well, we have 2. That's right. It's Christmas time. We're in the season of giving. 2 top topics. First one, it is time for the end of the tournament. Let's bring it on.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for...
Best there is, the best there was, and the best that there ever will be. Hold 2, arm bar.
Sodas rule. Yeah, they do.
Hold 3, the moss-covered, 3-handle family gradunzel.
It's me, Austin. Just when they think they ain't got the answers, I change the questions.
I did it for The Rock.
This week's top topic.
You know something, Mean Gene? John Cena. Wrestling's not fake.
The Rolex wearing one. Diamond ring wearing one. Kiss stealing. Woo. Wheeling dealing. One. Limousine riding. One. Jet flying. One. Son of a gun. Woo.
Sierra Hotel. India. Echo. Lima. Delta. Shield.
If you smell.
The following ranking order and final decisions are a completely bias-based order, based off The Professor and ODM made it. And as always, they like to let you know they have not worked in the business, but have been lifelong invested fans much like you, our listeners. With not only their opinions involved, but with countless amount of hours of research done each week, they make sure to provide proper facts and history to back it up. However, they do know that your opinion may vary from theirs. If there is anything you want to chat about, bring to their attention. If there is something they missed or forgot, or you just want to let them know they are out of their freaking minds, feel free to shoot them a message on Facebook or Twitter, or email them at thetopofwrestling@gmail.com. As always, they do appreciate all feedback and continued support. At the end of the day, they want to make sure that you do see the best of the best before you die. And now, this week's top topic.
I believe the children are our future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. So, why are children our future? We need to make sure they're seeing the right wrestling, man. And look at, we are not exactly making friends with this list, apparently. I've heard from several people. One, and someone asked, and I'm like, I could have sworn it was in it. They're like, how did Savage and Steamboat not make the cut? I'm like, I think they were in the 64, but I mean, like,
Savage Flair made it.
Yeah,
I think it was. I think they got eliminated the first round. The Savage Steamboat won. Pretty sure.
It did.
Yeah.
It was in the first round.
Yeah. So there.
And, you know, and people questioning, you know, what should move on, you know, Flair and Steamboat, you know, things like that versus some of the ones that made it to the Elite Eight. But, hey, this was primarily, in a weird way, yes, it was about Weezy, okay? You went with that criteria because that's where you wanted to get him back into watching things, having him see the best of the best. As our topic says, the best of the best before you die. But look at it, we should have done multiple brackets, one NXT, one Ring of Honor, one New Japan, one WWE.
Sure.
Because once everything was up against stuff, it was really hard to fight criteria. However, looking at the Elite Eight, what we have, I'm actually pretty happy for anything that moves on. I have a very big feeling it's going to be pretty slam dunk, I think, for all of these. I don't think there's going to be too much argument, and I do mean that for real. And I'm going to start by flipping just the first part around here because
I knew it.
Motherfucker, the way you ended the show last week. You're lucky the bumper caught me off. I was trying to call you a piece of shit.
You don't say.
But it's Samoa Joe versus Kenta Kobashi at Joe Kobashi from 2005 in October against Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada, their first meeting at Wrestle Kingdom 10. Now we're going to get into detail, okay? We've gotten into some detail about stuff. So again, this is Omega Okada's first match. Without doing a spoiler, we talked about it. This is the Terminator entrance. It's the first time these two have really met, other than some like 8-man tags and shit like that. But at the time, Omega was the guy that everybody was like, I think he's going to be dethroning Okada at some point. And was he going to do it? Was he not? Here it was, the main event of Wrestle Kingdom, which is, again, if you're new to it, it's the WrestleMania of New Japan. Every year, January 4th, Wrestle Kingdom. Now, Joe Kobashi was a very special match. It was a one-off. And it happened in Ring of Honor in front of 100th of what was inside of the Tokyo Dome for this Omega Okada match. 200 people maybe at best in this place. Now, I know last week you decided to leave us with a little joke. You did say off air. No, not necessarily did you think it was a shitty match. No. But we could look at Omega Okada. I don't think there's a whole lot we have to say about what the match is going to be. Right? What to expect.
Right.
Just a great athletic wrestling match between two fast-paced wrestlers. Joe Kobashi, without giving things away too much, what were your thoughts?
Hold on, I just had to pull the bracket up, but I want to make sure I've got you on video so I can see you. You look like a fucking mark. This was not a good match. This is the kind of match that AEW tries to recreate weekly. It was 200 Tony Khans in a bingo hall watching two guys slap each other for a half an hour. I love Samoa Joe. This was abysmal. Every time I thought it would pick up, like they'd go to a nice rest spot or something, I was like, all right, here we go, let's do something. Nope, we're just going to slap the shit. Whoa! Whoa! This was fucking terrible. At best, it's a 6 out of 10.
For 2005... This was the original in the U.S., though.
Okay. But all those marks were getting tapes from Japan anyway at that time, so it's not like it exposed anybody new.
Wow, you tore this shit. You actually just, upset me here.
Listen,
like,
my goal, listen,
this is
I know
one I feel like we were going to
I know we do it for the content, and sometimes we ham it up just to do it. But no, I'm serious, dude. I watched this. I watched it that night.
No,
and it was...
It's cool. So hang on, now let me talk.
Mark!
You fucking Vince Russo-like motherfucker.
Bro.
This was ahead of its time. Fine. If this is all that Tony books nowadays, I get it. But why do you think this shit exists? Why do you think the AEW version like that exists? It's because of what Joe and Kobashi put on here in America for the first time that anybody had ever seen. Most people didn't even know who fucking Kobashi was unless you were that tape trading mark.
Well, at least we know what to blame it on.
And then he brought it to the U.S. So you can't tell me. Yeah, okay, fine. They did some slaps. A lot of people hate when Eddie Kingston does the slaps in the corner, the multiple tap, 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 tap. Well, this is where he learned it from. This was the OG. This is what Samoa Joe did was have a Kobashi Misawa type match that you saw in Japan, but they brought it to the U.S. You're too fucking dumb and ignorant to understand that they brought an amazing Japanese style over here, and Tony ripped it off to shreds. You're over here just thinking that this is just pre-Tony Khan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It is.
I blacked out. I think I may have called you a name or two.
I blacked out. What happened?
True story. I was already set for Omega Okada to move on for this because looking at it, yes, the body of work versus the body of work, Joe and Kobashi, I think is a slugfest. You can't tell me when you see Samoa Joe pick up Kobashi, a guy at his size, and give him a very clean, fast power bomb. That you're not like, oh, okay, all right. Like it's.
And Joe's a good worker. I mean, I've never said anything contrary. Doesn't surprise me.
So, I'm okay with Omega Okada going into the Final Four. It's absolutely fine. I do think out of all of the matches that are a honorable mention before the Final Four bracket is set, I think this is just one to let anybody see who has never seen this. And I told you before, Do Fixer versus Blood Generation. I don't know who's teaming with who, but it was a fucking fast-paced six-man tag, and it was
fun
awesome.
Sometimes,
Both
yeah.
produced by Ring of Honor. Exactly. All right, so that means Omega and Okada move on to the final four. And to be honest with you, it doesn't matter who's in where for the bracket because it's just whatever moves on. And then Weezy's going to see all four of these and make his a personal opinion for seeing all of these are definitely first times for him.
Yep.
Guaranteed. This is going against Samoa Joe, Christopher Daniels, and AJ Styles. X Division Championship, Unbreakable 2005. See, Joe was busy in 2005.
Yeah, apparently.
He was breaking necks, cashing checks.
And slapping bitches.
That's going against Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, WrestleMania 25. Something tells me you haven't seen Unbreakable.
What do you think they call me, Mr. Glass?
So you have seen this triple threat match?
Oh, I thought you meant the movie.
You're a fucking idiot.
No, I haven't seen this match. And now here's the thing. Honestly, especially after the sour taste of Joe Kobashi, I would love to see this match. Christopher Daniels, I never really watched him wrestle a ton. So, I really don't have an opinion either way about the guy. It's not like I hate him or anything. But, I love Joe and Styles, and I'm not as familiar with their stuff in TNA. So, this would be a fun match to watch. It actually might be next up on the list.
It would be. For an honorable mention backup, yeah. But Taker Michaels, my only issue is, like, if this match took place at any other time than WrestleMania, it's that unknown factor.
Right.
But if you know WrestleMania and The Undertaker, you know about the streak. So it's like, there's an inevitable to this match. But is it worth moving on versus that triple threat? Yes. It was a classic match. And don't tell me because I was there.
With Chuck and Bob.
And Chuck and Bob. It was actually that boy.
Remember that?
And Chuck.
Well, no, the guys, remember on the hard cam when we did the watch along, we just called them Chuck and Bob. The two guys that you were...
Oh, those guys. Yeah. That's right. The guys I met at Fan Fest.
Yep.
I forgot all about that. No shit. Wow, that's a throwback. Yeah, Taker Michaels is going to move.
Yeah, I mean, and this is one, listen, the people that are listening, hey, you might agree with that because, yeah, it's a classic and it's hard to top. You might disagree and say, yeah, well, you guys are just being marks for Undertaker and the WWE, and this was a classic. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm excited to see this X Division matchup. I want to see it, and I'm going to go watch it. Maybe we'll watch a fifth match, and that'll be one of them. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's really hard to...
I'll have enough time.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Bed Bath & Beyond. So, yeah, it's just kind of hard to... we're not moving on the triple threat just for the sake of saying it's not the norm, right? We're expecting, what the marks consider the norm.
I was going to fight for a match, Joe Kobashi would have moved on before Joe Daniels Styles. And I like Joe Daniels Styles. It was kind of your next step of Guerrero, Malenko, and Mysterio. Moving up just a little bit in weight and putting on a great triple threat match that is, not your cruiserweight, but it's your X Division.
Right.
And they brought something completely different, which was great.
Good blend.
Something needed at that time. Yep. It's a great match, to be honest with you. But Taker Michaels, to be honest with you, it's a solid... It's known as one of the best WrestleMania matches for a reason.
Two professionals.
And I'm saying all the way from each entrance all the way to the very end.
Yeah, finish is sick.
On to our next match, which is another Undertaker one. Undertaker and Triple H, Hell in a Cell, WrestleMania 28. And that's going against The Rock versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18. So 10 years difference in these matches. And this is in the Sky Dome in Toronto. This is an easy answer for me, to be honest.
Wow. Okay. So can I give you my thoughts before you give your answer? Because I don't want you to...
Yeah, before I tell you what's really going to move on? Yeah, that's okay.
Before what's really going to move on. Because I'm not here to make a decision. I can tell you what, this is the one that I had trouble with, and I'm basically going to let you pick. Because here's the thing. Hogan versus Rock, we've talked about it every single round. It's electric. It's lightning in a bottle. It's something you can't recreate. It's something that just happened. The fans bought in. They called an audible. Maybe they didn't. And it's one of the most memorable matches in WWE or even wrestling history. It was the true once in a lifetime, right? You know, maybe not really, but it really was.
I was gonna say they tried to. You said you don't try to recreate lightning in a bottle. They tried it with Cena and Rock and thought it would work, and then they doubled down. All they had to do was just insert Punk at WrestleMania 29, and once in a lifetime was legit once in a lifetime.
Right.
But when you main evented 2 WrestleManias back to back that way, it's like, I don't have amnesia. I watched last year's WrestleMania. I know what happened, by the way.
Right.
Anyway.
It's like a pay-per-view and then a Nitro right afterwards. But anyway, yeah. So, but here's the thing, right? The atmosphere was electric. The matchup was electric. Like most Hogan matches, though, it wasn't really that great of a wrestling match. So, I mean, it lacked that aspect, right? The Taker Triple H, people probably were maybe starting to get a little tired of the Taker Triple H HBK thing. I mean, this was like its 4th year running. So, it was running out of steam, and these guys were getting old. That's why it was the end of an era. But, man, the culmination of 4 years worth of story and just the match itself being, cage matches, especially these days, they're a dime a dozen. There's nothing exciting that you can really do anymore. This one was brutal. Brutal. Shawn Michaels super kicking Taker, thinking he'd give Triple H the win, and Taker kicked out, and Michaels like covered in the corner, like what the fuck. It had that electricity element too, but it had more of a better in-ring presentation. So for me, this one's really hard. So I'm just interested to see what you're gonna pick. I think I know.
Oh, you're finished? Well, allow me to retort. Sentiments are there for Hogan Rock. The atmosphere, everything that it was. Just the fact that walking in, heel was Hogan, Rock was face.
Yep.
Match to match, I actually think Taker versus Triple H 1, or 2. Well, actually, even really 1.
Yeah, well.
WrestleMania 17 was way better. 27 was pretty good. 28, the more I think about it, you got your Hell in a Cell, cool.
Right.
I get the 4-year story.
Sure. A limited story, too.
But Michael's flopping around like a fucking disabled, beat-up fish.
Disabled.
Because he didn't get the pin he wanted, because he had to make it about him. The more I think about it, it was 2 versus 1, and it took away from what was WrestleMania and that streak. The first one, you can't recreate. You couldn't recreate 25. They tried to do it at 26. It was the same match, different fucking atmosphere. This time it was orange in Arizona. 28, they tried 27, they tried doing Taker and Triple H. It was good. I liked it. Triple H fucking tapped to the Hell's Gate as he was almost grabbing for the sledgehammer. This here was a lot of just finisher after finisher, interference. It was too much going on for me to say that beats Hogan and Rock.
Fair enough.
Hogan and Rock just came with so much fucking electricity, and it's something that you got to remember. As much as I shit on that Attitude Era, after Attitude Era was the quote-unquote ruthless aggression era.
Yeah, no shit, right.
That doesn't begin until about June, July of 2002. We are at the end of the Attitude Era, and you just took Hulk Hogan from the NWO and The Rock from WWF and put him in WrestleMania, and you didn't know what the crowd was going to do.
Oof.
And I don't mean like they were like, well, let's just see how it goes. I mean more they're like, oh, Hogan's going to get booed the fuck out of the arena. This is great. And as soon as Jimi Hendrix fucking starts up for Voodoo Child or the NWO version, whatever it was, holy shit, Rock came into a sea of boos and was like, Huh. Okay, I know how my cousin Roman's going to feel at Royal Rumble in 2015. Right? Hogan Rock's going on.
I like what you're saying. You exposed me, not in the bad way, that Taker Triple H at 28, that's my mark match. That's a mark match for me, 100%.
Okay, so the marks are out. Joe Kobashi, Taker, Triple H. All right, they're out. The last match to decide, both have the same competitor in both of them, and it's another one that I think may end up being more of a slam dunk than you think.
Right.
For me arguing.
Uh-huh.
Steve Austin versus Bret Hart, WrestleMania 13 in a submission match. And that goes against Bret Hart and Owen Hart, brothers versus brothers in a steel cage match, SummerSlam 94. Very, very, very big fan of Owen and Bret. Their feud was hot. I loved the, I'm not in your shadow. I'm better than you. Whoa! And I got it. I was Owen in the family, man. I was a nugget.
You still are.
But, fuck yourself.
Mark.
But only my wife can call me her nugget.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
you chicken tender bitch.
She just yelled nugget from the other room. Beautiful.
I heard it.
I like Bret and Owen for that steel cage match. I think it's the best of their work together.
Sure. Yeah.
However, for a Final Four, now we're getting down to not only what was a great wrestling match, but what was iconic.
Iconic, yeah.
I think Bret and Owen, extremely good match. Would I call it iconic? I'd have to actually lean towards no because of all the run-ins with the Hart family and Jim the Animal Neidhart trying to be on Owen's side and all that shit. Bret and Austin leaving it to just saying the double turn. And yeah, maybe someone's going to catch or know what that means off of, that for spoiler. But still, when you watch it, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
This is genius. Like, just how well done it was.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, just knowing that, was Bret wrong in anything that he said leading into that match? No, he did get screwed at every fucking turn. Every match that he had, someone got involved and fucked him over. Every championship match. And we called it out. We're like, he's kind of got a point. I get that he's whining, but he's got a point. And then Austin here's like, you ain't nothing but a crybaby. And you're like, well, he ain't lying either.
A lot of good points.
Shit. I like Bret and Owen, but I think that Austin and Bret is the one that should move on.
100%. Again, we could sit here and be contrarian and say everybody always talks about Austin and Bret. They always talk about it. And we could put Bret and Owen too, and that'd be a good match, and I'm sure Weezy would have some really good insight into it. But this is, we've said it before, this is like one of the most important matches in WWE history. This was almost the ascent, the final turning point for Austin to get, as over as he ever would be, to really become the Rattlesnake. And the double turn, it just showed you what good booking can do. Yeah, WWF was doing a lot of shit booking at that time, but this was just, and again, like Hogan Rock, you did very little, and you let the fans do the rest.
It's funny you said shit booking at that time. Pretty sure on the same show it was Legion of Doom and Ahmed Johnson versus a Nation of Domination in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Ahmed came out on the spikes. I remember that.
And Sid and Taker headlined.
I'm on Prozac.
After Bret and Austin tore the fucking house down. So, Final Four, Taker, Michaels 25, Omega, Okada 1, Hogan and Rock from WrestleMania 18, and Steve Austin and Bret Hart from WrestleMania 13. 3 out of 4 of these you can watch still on the
for now
up until Netflix, so you better hurry up and watch those matches. And I believe you have Omega Okada, if I'm not mistaken.
I do. I think I have all 3.
So you have everything you need, anything that you guys need to further along with the honorable mentions, you let me know.
Yes, sir.
That was a fun tournament. everybody, you could have done this tournament. We took the very first pairing that came out in the Excel doc when you hit random, and this is what came through.
Mm-hmm.
We could hit random, and to be honest with you, this whole thing could have turned out in multiple different ways just on what was facing what.
Sure. What was in there, how we...
I'm happy with the final four here.
It's solid.
I think these are a good set of matches. So enjoy Weezy. And now, bring on the dick jokes.
The Top of Wrestling proudly presents to you a Big Four production, Non-Wrestling. The following has absolutely nothing to do with wrestling. Just two sick, demented fucks talking about whatever the hell they feel like. If you get easily offended, we appreciate you listening this far, and we'll catch you later. Now bring on the dick jokes.
I mean, I know it's supposed to be non-wrestling, but it's... I mean, he came to me, and I was like, I thought he was hungry, so I was like, you should check out Outback Steakhouse. It's really fucking good, Phoenix.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I think I just saw it because the news was that the news at the time was the whole Phoenix thing, and I saw it, and I'm like, oh yeah, let me just save this screenshot, and yeah, and I just looked at it, and I did not read it. So yeah, I look like a complete jackhole there, but you know what? It was worth the laughs. I'll take it.
I'm not sure you're the one that looks like the jackhole in that exact situation.
Well, I mean, he doesn't have to try very hard.
Fair. All right, man, it's non-wrestling, which means let's talk some wrestling. Normally, I take the reins on this here. I feel like maybe you should run it.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
Go over,
It's the first thing I do.
go over
Go
like
ahead.
a Led Zeppelin. I had to pick up my kid, as you know, from practice. He does indoor track, and he was late. He was running late. He told me 6:30. It ended up being 6:45 by the time he got in the car. Saw every jackhole fucking parent driving. You want to see frustration? You think Walmart's bad? Go to a suburban high school parking lot. Watch the parents drive around the parking lot. That'll make you want to murder somebody. But he gets in the car.
Not allowed within 100 feet.
He gets. Is your name Jerry Lawler? Oh, that's wrestling talk. I should talk.
Chuck E. Cheese.
200 feet from Chuck E. Cheese. So he tells me there was a meeting. There's a team meeting afterwards. So they got held longer. But here's the thing: it wasn't a team meeting that the coaches put on. It was like one of the captains or one of the players, a chick who's a thrower. A thrower is somebody who is not a runner. So use that euphemism to paint a picture for yourself. They're not somebody who runs a lot. And she was basically just complaining.
Oh, like they do shot put.
Yeah. Complaining.
Oh, Brock Lesnar's daughter. Okay.
Yeah, yes. Well, I wouldn't be that generous. There's at least some muscle there. It's probably quite, the other way. But apparently she just called a meeting for all the players to say that the coach is overworking them because she doesn't want to run. They said, I got to get those new little
Listen
Debbies.
here, fatty.
Hey, they got the new cone coming out next month. Hey.
Hey, you don't know, baby. Baby D. Baby sister's bigger than big sister. All right. So that's what you had to deal with. I was wondering what took you so long and why I had to have, extra chicken nuggets and
time.
drinks.
Well, like you needed a fucking excuse for that.
Touche.
You know what I'm saying? I tell you, I get to be up at 4 a.m. tomorrow.
No, that sounds fucking horrible.
It does sound
Don't even
horrible.
want to know why, but good luck with it.
Yeah, it is what it is. As long as I have time to take
I'm
a
up
shit.
every day at 5 because that's how I work.
Yeah, because you work for the East Coast while living on the West Coast.
Yeah.
I'm on
so
the
what
East
I do
side.
is, punch in and go.
I'm on the West side.
Oh, that's good shit. So, let me ask you. You familiar with Dak Shepard?
Sounds familiar.
He was in Punk'd, a TV show with Ashton Kutcher for a little bit.
Okay.
An actor, but then also was in a bunch of movies, but now has his own podcast, the Armchair Experts. And it's him and this chick Monica, this Indian chick, and it's a great fucking show. But what they do is every now and then they have a show called The Armcherries, where they pick a topic and people call in and they record this whole fucking, like, their stories about things. And we listened to this show to and from LA last week when we were heading for the Bills game. We're like, well, let's give one episode a chance. And it made me realize how much I miss a good radio station where people call in and say things, but this is completely unedited.
Right.
Like, one was a time that you actually shit your pants. And, like, a dude was
Bill
wearing,
Gray's.
like, khakis, and he 2 weeks ago, bam, beat it. By the way, don't eat Bill Gray's pizza.
I didn't know they made pizza.
That's fucking great. So, like, one dude, like, he was, like, wearing khakis, and they were out, like doing test drive cars, like, for his company, and they were out in the woods. He's like, guys, I gotta go. And he went out, and, like, it gets bad, you know what I mean? So, some of the things we listened to, I was like, man, I'm gonna save some of these topics just to randomly ask you maybe during non-wrestling. And I got a bunch of random ones here, but do you have a crazy ex story? Like a story like just one time an ex just went way too fucking far, or it was really like, holy shit, I can't believe this. Now I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah.
So I could always go first and tell you one unless you have one in the chamber.
No, you're gonna beat me. I don't have a crazy ex. The craziest I had is there was this chick in college, and she started bad mouthing me to like her meathead buddies, and one of them was her new boyfriend who had like a lazy eye, and they were both meatheads at a frat, and they wanted to kick my ass because it was still too close to high school and immature. Nothing. So no, I ain't got no crazy ex. One thing I'm lucky about,
Before I ended up being with my first wife, who you met, right before that, while hanging in Brockport, playing the college bars and all that.
That's your
shit,
first fault problem.
Just hanging with the money was great. Money was fucking great. All you had to do was play OAR and say I hated Dave Matthews and have a reason for it. They were like, play Dave Matthews. I'm like, he sucks. And they're like, he's got conviction. That's hot.
Okay.
But I was hanging with just whatever at the time. Like, not like playing field, but like just whatever. And I had one chick I hung with, and she asked me to house sit her apartment, which I did. And during the time of it, while house sitting, she's like, and just make sure these two cats don't get out. So meanwhile, I had that boy and Nate over, and we were all just grilling and drinking. And I go to inside the apartment, and I go, the door's open, motherfucker. Oh, shit, and I couldn't find the cats. And I was like, party's over, everybody's got to go. We got to find these fucking cats. I'm like, this is really fucked up. So we left the grill there outside, like, whatever. Turns out the cats were in the fucking box spring under the goddamn bed. Fuck them. Because after 2.5 hours, I actually had to call her and be like, I think I lost your cats. While she was down in Florida with some people. Then she comes back. We don't really talk that much. We get into an argument, whatever, and we just never talk again. Yes, I know my fucking grill is there. It's one of those little portable charcoal grills. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I'm hanging out with my first wife. Now this isn't a wife at this time. It's just a girl or a girlfriend or whatever. And we hung out all night, and I came home at like 2 a.m. And I walk up to my front door, and the grill is sitting there.
Oh, shit.
And I come to a dead stop. I go, oh. Like, fuck
What's
me.
in the grill?
All of a sudden, down the road, like maybe 50 feet.
Die, motherfucker, die, motherfucker, die!
No. She starts up her car down the road and just drives by slowly, real slowly, and just, I saw the car and she just went by and took off. I'm like, wait, first you waited for me to continue doing what I was doing tonight with another girl, and you brought this fucking grill here as a message, and then you sat in the goddamn fucking road waiting for me to come home. Who's to say I was coming home tonight? Either way.
Yikes. Some
shit. I guess, you know what? You're right. Be very glad that you haven't had any, have you had any crazy wife stories? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, man. What's another one? Not for me.
Oh, Jesus. That's not a good way to start.
No. Not for me, but like it's this one that was like a bad sexual story, right?
Oh.
Not me. I'm good. It's either I do it or I can't. But we were not doing hidden tracks in the beginning of 2020 when we first started this show. Did I ever tell you the fucking story about the night that I went to that party and everybody got all sick? The guy.
Oh my God! That was I think a bring it to the table or some shit. You've told us.
It was.
Yeah,
or
because it was like all red because you were drinking something in particular that was red and it was fucking.
Not me.
So they were.
They had red.
Yeah. No shit.
Well, the one girl
ass
looked
all
like
over
fucking
the place.
blood was all over the walls. Yes. Good story, Beth. Not mine. The funny thing is, I was like fucking 4 months no drinking at that time. So I was like, whoo, I'm going to go outside. I got to go. That's bad. It was rough. But when someone called in with bad sex stories or something like that, they're like, well, this happened and blah, blah, blah. One dude's hair caught on fire while getting a blowjob from a candle that was nearby. Like, real fucked up shit. And I was like, man, it's not mine, but I don't think anything ever beats the guy throwing up in the girl's vagina. I don't think that fucking nothing can beat that.
Yeah, let's hope not anyway. I heard something on Cornet. They played some old radio bit or story where a guy's reading a news story and he's a very straight-laced guy, like he's, very straightforward, and the story's about two gay guys, a gerbil, a plastic, and a cardboard tube, and like they lit a lighter and to try to like get the gerbil out or something, and it ignited the gas in its colon, and the pressure blew out the gerbil like a cannonball and hit the guy in the face.
Jesus Christ.
It's great. It was fucking hilarious. So yeah, at least it's not one of those, right? Imagine having a gerbil blow.
What would you do for $100? Jesus. That is rough.
Gerbil cannonball.
Oh my God.
That should be the episode name.
Yeah, so they're... Ooh, I like that. Like, when's the gerbil going to show up?
Never. Lemmy wings.
So yeah, man, it was just all like, random stories, things like, what was your worst this or worst that, and some doozies out there, man.
Oh, I'm sure.
Just when you think you have it bad, you're like, I guess my life ain't that bad. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Any bad Christmas moments? Since we're heading into the holidays, anything where you were like, I mean, besides hanging with your uncle?
Yeah, I was just gonna say. The funny thing...
He's like, I am dreaming of a white Christmas.
Yeah, I'm not going to say too much about that. I remember it wasn't a bad one. I told you my Uncle Bob passed away recently, right? We were talking about that recently, right? So, they rotate Christmases, when it's at my parents' and it's another house and it's another house. I think there's three main ones that they rotate between, and we all get there, evening. On Christmas Day. And one year we went to, Uncle Bob's house, and, Uncle Bob, did pretty well for himself. He had a nice little plot out in Hilton, a beautiful yard, big, and he had like a workshop. And I mean like a legit workshop. I mean, it was pretty decently sized. He had all the fucking tools. He was a woodworker, and he had a heater out there. So, my brother was in town at the time. So we went out there, and we got fucking shit hammered. Including Uncle Bob. Now the thing is, Uncle Bob he was in rough shape, man. And he had diabetes. That was the big one. He ended up being on dialysis. I'm not trying to read his whole fucking medical record here, but And, dude, I think he got so shit. I remember at one point we all went back in the house. And next thing you know, I go, oh, shit, Bob fell. He just took a toe. So awesome. He comes in, he's like, I'm fucking fine. He was such a ball buster. So there was that. I mean, bad Christmas? Not really. Maybe the night my dad left. I have no fucking clue. I can't remember that far. I'm just kidding. What? He left during the summer.
Still doesn't come
he
back
left during
from
the
that
summer.
pack of cigarettes.
No, he didn't smoke. Probably for a case of Budweiser.
It's funny because I have a couple random ones. One was my aunt from California, my Aunt Beverly. She likes to throw back her whiskey when she can. When I was there this past summer for my uncle's memorial thing that we all went there, she was like, who's ready for whiskey? I'm like, it's 1 in the afternoon. You should have water. Like, even I'm telling you no, and I know where the bourbon is. I'm like, and I don't know if I ever told you this while being at that thing. You know, I haven't really stepped into my parents' house in a long time, obviously, not just with travels, but because of how things were estranged for a bit. And my mom was like, hey, and just a heads up. And she goes above the fridge and opens up this one cabinet, and it's where all the liquor is. She goes, just in case. And I said, all right, Mom, thanks. Appreciate that. Thanks for the heads up.
Ma!
She's like, I know what you're going to need to get through for this day. And but it was funny. My aunt's like, all right, where's the whiskey? And I knew that she was not allowed to have it at 1 o'clock. I had seen her have her first glass at 8, 9 o'clock one time on a Christmas Eve. And we were just sitting there. And I'm 20. Not allowed to drink. What's really weird about my family is that if I was 20 and sitting home, not allowed to have a beer. Some families are like, it's okay, whatever. You know what I mean? But so I'm sitting there, sober as shit. And my aunt just goes, fuck you and fuck you, especially you can fuck yourself. She just, whiskey hit her, and she just got up and started screaming, fuck you at everybody. And I don't know why. I just busted out laughing. I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was the funniest shit. I was like, this is awesome. They're like, Bev, stop. You're done. You're done drinking. And she's like, no. Fuck you. A lot of fun.
She sounds like a great person
Besides,
to hang out with.
Oh, I love her. But then besides that, one year, man, my family, we're Italians, man. We fight, and my dad got in an argument with my one cousin. He was like, you know what? It was on Christmas Eve. He goes, that's it. You know what? That's strike 3. My dad said to him, he's like, that's strike 3. We're done. I just can't deal with this shit anymore. Don't bother. And so Tony shows up thinking that it's going to be okay to just walk into someone's house screaming on Christmas Eve. And goes, strike 3? You're giving me strike 3? I've never seen the calmest way of someone ever doing this, by the way, but it was fucking awesome. My dad opened the door behind him, legitimately picked him up, and he was a 250-pound fucking dude who he picked up. He picked him up and threw him out the door into the snow and said, when I put my shoes on, if you're still here, you're fucked. Close the door. Turn around, calmly putting his boots on. And I was like, I think I'm going to get in the middle of this one. Okay. Shit. And I go out there, I go, hey, you're going to die. I think you should leave. I think it'd be best if you left. I'm like, this was Christmas Eve when you're with a bunch of fucking Italian people who just do nothing but fight and sometimes drink.
All right.
So what time am I welcome to your house this year for Christmas?
Right, man, we're going to be moving, I get to play, hey.
And these guys are really looking.
You can hardly see them nipples.
You doing anything fun for Christmas?
Brother's going to be in town with his wife and their daughter, my niece. It'll be nice to see her. She's like a little over a year and a half. So that'll be nice.
I was going to say 2 or 3 now.
Yeah,
okay, 2, all right.
Yeah. 2 in April. I do lasagna on Christmas Eve. So we're going to do that. We're going to Uncle Bleep's house, as you know.
Uncle Bleep's house.
And just to make matters even more interesting, if you did not know this, and not that it matters, and I would never, say this because it's not important. I'm saying it because of the context of Uncle Bleep's. My sister-in-law is black. So
yes, this I know.
So
as is your niece.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah, no,
yeah,
absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. So
I'm like, no, you guys are coming in carrying ammo for Uncle Bleep to have.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
How's your brother about that?
Probably reserved. He hasn't said much to me. The best thing is you walk in.
He's not a confrontational guy.
Listen, I'm spilling all the secrets. If you ever listens to this, I'll get called out. We'll see if I get called out on Christmas. So I'll have the story for the next non-wrestling. But when you walk in through the garage, and they always have Miller High Life in the bottle, which I love, and I always drink them dry. I'll bring a 12-pack this year. But when you walk in, there's a huge Trump flag. huge, like right there, like it's like you can. It's there on purpose because it's like if you're walking into my house, you are going to see this fucking flag.
Trump, motherfucker.
So there's that. I'm not participating in the White Christmas that we do. These things were like rigged Iraqi elections.
Y'all want a Klan hood?
It was.
I got one for you.
It's just fucking. Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I shouldn't complain because if that's the worst I have to deal with, I'm doing all right for myself, so I can't complain. But just to shoot the shit, I mean, it is what it is.
I'm imagining like 30 people sitting in the living room doing White Elephant.
Yeah, pretty much.
And all of a sudden it says Trump 2024 on a shirt, and he's sitting there in the corner like, I wonder if anybody knows it's me.
Well, yeah. The best part is my Secret Santa gifts from last year I wrapped with a black Santa and then on the wrapping paper, so... Take that.
Jesus was a Jew. Jesus, that's amazing. Jesus. Yo, that's awesome. If you can't even get it this year, color it in that way.
Just color it in, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we at the Top of Wrestling would like to apologize for the unexpected interruption. We are experiencing technical difficulties and expect to return to our normally scheduled podcast momentarily.
It wasn't my fault, honestly.
I think, I'll allow the plea of ignorance at that age. I mean, what are you going to do? He probably didn't think about it much. I'm like,
Sins of the mother.
Well, and you lived in Hickville, so, I mean.
There's one photo, I think, out there floating around, but I think that teacher's dead.
That teacher's dead.
She went as a sports fan. So she was like, I think this would be great if we did a picture together.
Oh, okay.
So I was trying to think about evidence that's out there. You know what I mean? I know I didn't take a picture.
Yeah, it might be out there. You never know. I'm going to try to look for it. Brockport. That's what I'm going to Google.
Professor.
I don't
just
think
comes up Mike Tenay as Laparca.
Yeah, that'll actually probably. Yeah, Mike.
Oh, man. Well, dude. Next week is Christmas, so are we doing a show?
This is that's a really good fucking question. I was actually meant to text you that before. I mean, listen, it's we can record earlier in the day if that works. Like I said, Christmas Eve.
I'm off all day.
Me too.
Monday through Friday.
Me too. So yeah, we'll do an early one. We'll keep it light. We'll do the wars. We've got a top topic that'll be pretty straightforward. And we'll just have some fun with it and go from there.
And leave the stories to hear.
Please do. Let's never speak of this again.
What happens in non-wrestling stays in non-wrestling.
Yeah, except for...
Same to you listeners.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good thing we only have 3.
And a half.
And a half.
He's a
you beat me to it, son of a bitch.
We're back next week, apparently. And it's going to be the Christmas episode, baby. And not only will we be discussing, well, probably not much for nowadays wrestling. We got the wars, like you mentioned, but the top topic next week for music is going to be a fun one. Mount Rushmore of just songs.
That's going to be tough.
There's 4 songs you think anybody should ever listen to. 4 to go with you on a desert island. I don't know, however you want to look at it. Just 4 songs.
Oof.
Mine is definitely With My Baby Tonight, followed up with Rap is Crap.
Oh, yeah. The one Macho Man diss track against Hogan.
That, and then Roddy Piper, the...
Maybe I'm Your Man.
The one that had the old man.
Baby, I'm Your Man. Is that what it was?
I'm your man. Yo. That was a horrible fucking segment.
That was terrible.
Oh, the only reason we do the wars, man. It's going to be the biggest anthology ever. I'm the Professor. I bid you farewell. He's ODM. These are his thoughts that he has just scrambled up in his head that he's going to try and spew out.
All
Go.
scrambled. Thanks, Professor. I really got nothing to say this week, so I'm going to leave you with this quick story. Professor, I sent you a link to a song that I had stuck in my head the other day because I'm watching Better Call Saul for the 5th time. You asked me, is that going to be your music? Well, it's going to be my outro, so hit the music!
Paca, 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 paca en mi caballo. 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 Y mi caballo es el mejor por su paso moderado. Y mi caballo es el mejor por su paso moderado. Y cuando ve una linda muchacha, él se va de medio lado. Y cuando ve una linda muchacha, qué caballo más enamorado. Paca, 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 paca en mi caballo. Paca, 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 paca en mi caballo. Paca, 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 paca en mi caballo. Paca, 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 paca en mi caballo.
The Top of Wrestling Podcast is brought to you by The Top of Wrestling Podcast. Your hosts are the Professor Mark Fantasia and ODM, the Doc Joe Rizzo. Feel free to reach out to the show by email at thetopofwrestling@gmail.com, on their Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram page. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. You can listen to the show on most popular platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, Pandora, and YouTube. Without your continued support, it would be just some guys talking wrestling, which is pretty much what it is anyway. Good night, folks.
Yo, right before, the reason I need a couple extra minutes is you cannot hide a fucking Christmas present in this goddamn RV.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
So I was like scrambling to try and hurry up and wrap some shit that just came, and I'm like, the package on the outside was obvious as fuck as to what it was. And I was like, come on, Amazon, you let me down on this one.
Yeah, they do that every once in a while. Yeah, or you just get the box and you're like, oh shit.
Wait, I don't think you sent it to me.
I did.
Is it the winner takes it all? The loser takes
I hate
the fall.
that so much. It's so goddamn. I like Ernie doing Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Oh my God.
They obviously told him, listen, I'm sure you can't sing for shit to begin with, but make it worse.
And I need you now tonight. What song is it?
It's the song that they play when Lalo shows up for the first time. He's cooking in the kitchen and he's singing along with the song on the radio. It's that song. Yep.
You are going to love this. Hang on.
My name's Eduardo, but you can call me Lalo.
Lalo. No me gusta.
No me gusta.
Oh, we should probably stop.
And 3, 2, 1. Yeah, you can't.
You know, you can be all the things you've always wanted to be. Beautiful, sexy, easy as 1, 2, 3.
Just look so